Recovery Act, there's what's called definitions. We've got the legal terms, and we have the Black American terms. There's a number 82, it's called sellout. Can I read it to you? And I'm going to read, and then I'm going to leave this podium because I think you had enough of me. Let's see here. Sellout. Number 82. A racial description of a Black American who gives information or intelligence on another Black American who is advancing goodwill for the Black people of America, traded for financial gains, employment position, elected office, contracts, or accepted membership of a secret society. That is the definition of sellout. This by giving you the definition of what we call Black power. And that's number 100. Black power is number 100. None of my definitions are alphabetical order because alphabetical terms do not apply to us. We are a numerical group of people. We run on and work on numbers. How much is your hourly wage? It's a number. It's not an alphabetical term. Okay. 100, Black power. An ethnic movement or mission for Black Americans who seek judicial protections, fair housing, and economic restitution of injuries encountered by criminal actors of domestic or international affiliations. Now, the beauty of this new law in DC is the taxpayer does not pay. The taxpayer does not pay. This law is generated, the financial engine is generated by tariffs. T-A-R-R-I-F-S, tariffs. That's a hidden cost inside of a product, bricks, concrete, sugar, tobacco, corn, beef, chicken, seafood. Every descendant in this room, ancestors, has contributed free labor toward that. So all of those products and associations and international governments, Spain, Portugal, France, England, Africa, they all owe. They all owe us. There's enough to go around to be repaid. So therefore, our European American brothers and sisters don't have to feel that they are remortgaging or refinancing their homes to pay for reparations. We don't need your money. We need the money that's owed. We don't need your money to come out of your family inheritance that some have made it through the backs of our ancestors. I want each one of you all to go to a website, uscria.com. uscria.com. Please go to that website and look it up. And for the ones of you who are interested in receiving any type of information through mail, because I know we have some old timers here that hate the website, I'm with you. Give Brother Owens, we'll hand a sheet around for you to write your name and address, and we'll mail you a copy of it where you can see, touch, feel, and pray over it. I'm not a religious guy, but I'm a spiritual guy. I believe in the spirit. I've had my ancestors speak to me as I was writing this document. It wasn't easy writing the injuries, mind you. And thank you for giving me the few minutes to enlighten you as to what's going on in the District of Columbia and in the other parts of the country of this U.S. to come. Thank you.
Give them a hand. We're about to start the program. And we want all y'all to know the reason y'all are here, in case y'all forgot. Just think about for a minute and look up Think if you was in the bottom of a slave ship. Don't take the night lightly. We're fighting for some people that can't fight for themselves. Now, while you're in that slave ship, you picture Lewis Lattimore inventing the filament in that light bulb you're looking at. While you're in that slave ship, you think about Frederick Jones, who put the transmitter in this microphone. Huh? While you're in that slave ship, you think about Patrice Lumumba giving the independence speech for the Congos. You think about Nkrumah freeing Ghana from the British. You think about, while you're in that slave ship, Maya Angelou telling you why the caged bird sings. Huh? So don't you stay in that slave ship for long. And don't think about Johnny Cochran fighting the best of them in Thurgood Marshall. We are. I'll leave that with you. We are. I'll let these great distinguished men do the rest tonight. We want to bring up Brother Frank Shaw to get everything started.
Thank you. Black power, everybody, black power. Black power. All right. I see a lot of strong black trailblazers here tonight. Now, I want to just remind you of a few things real quickly. We are here to ask a serious question and, more importantly, to think tank on some of these solutions of how we're going to deal with Donald Trump, or I call him Donald Chump. All right? Now, we know we as black people, we have been oppressed under many different administrations, whether it be the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. And we are determined to put an end to that so our future generations no longer have to go through what the past generations and what we're currently going through. So we have some distinguished scholars, many distinguished guests who I will be introducing tonight. But first, I would like to introduce the moderators that are going to moderate this debate of the decade. I'd like to start off with Sister Hassani Muhammad. Come on out. Come on out, Sister Hassani Muhammad. Give her a hand. Give her a hand. All right. I see my brother. Okay. I just got pulled up. All right. So I'm going to pull back on that for a minute. Where's my brother, Talib Sabah? Are you there? Come on out. Come on out. Give him a hand. He's going to help us moderate this great debate tonight. Black lawyers for justice in the house. That's right. That's right. We got to know the law. We got to have civic rights classes. And that's one of the brothers that's going to help us. Now, the next moderator I like to call is Amy Jenkins. Amy Jenkins. She's a professor from Texas Southern University and has a master's degree in marriage and family counseling. Black power. Give her a black power salute. Where's my brother, that premier journalist, that black journalist that everybody know for keeping the truth way before Donald Trump started talking about fake news? This man kept it real with real news. Deshaun Farad, where you at? Come on out and help us moderate this. Come on, Deshaun. Give my brother a hand. Give my brother a hand. All right. I don't know how many of y'all been watching the internet and watching black internet TV, but this man right here is the master of it, the House of Consciousness. I'm looking for my brother Reggie. Brother Reggie, where you at? Come on. I see him. Peace, brother. Black News 102 is what he's representing here tonight. Black News 102. All right. Did I forget anybody? All right, now. I want to also give a quick shout out to WBAI in New York that helped us out. And I want to give a quick shout out to WVFW here in DC. All right. And it is with great pleasure and honor that I want to give you just a short bio of one of the most prominent, provocative, democratic, socialist intellectuals anywhere. He is an alumni. All right. Let me back up. Huh? Say that again? Oh, Brother Hakeem Mimi, I forgot about you. How could I forget about you, sir? Oh, man, we got a mod. This is one of the best moderators anywhere, Brother Hakeem Mimi. All right. Yes, have a seat, brother. Somebody bring me a chair for Brother Hakeem. Can I get a chair? Somebody bring me a chair. All right. Now, I want to introduce the great doctor, author of many books, professor of Harvard, professor of Yale, an alumni of both, one of the top-notch theologians in the world. Y'all know who he is. I've heard himself refer to himself as the revolutionary Christian. It's my brother, and I love him. I love what he stands for. I don't know how Brother Malik gonna debate with him, but y'all gonna find out. Y'all gonna find out tonight. Y'all gonna see. I'm looking for the great intellectual activist, the scholar, Dr. Cornel West. Where you at, brother? Come on out. All right, now. All right, thank you all. And I hope that you will get informed and help us come up with some solutions to the step-by-step plans that we need to do as a black nation. I'm going to hand the mic back to the chairman, my brother, Hashim Nazinga.
He said, how did I do? He did good. We got to give our people opportunities. We got Brother Jeremy from Howard Law School. Where Brother Jeremy at? Brother Jeremy. How can we forget the law school? And the moderators, I think, are going to face the stage. So I get the privilege to bring to you a brother and a friend and a comrade, but most of all, a son and a father. I met Attorney Shabazz in 1994, a couple of blocks from here at Howard University. He had 1,500 people in a room, and the night was entitled The Black Holocaust. Y'all know when he had Tony Morton, Dr. Khalid Muhammad, Dr. Leonard Jeffries. And when I met him that night, I met a man of dignity. I met a man that was proud. I met a man that I was proud to call a man. So whatever you heard about Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz, I'm gonna let Dr. West defend him. You remember he got a daughter named Cece and a giant for a mother. And he runs a black business and got black employees. And he graduated from Howard Law School. A lot of people graduate from law school, but they can't pass the bar. He passed the bar on the first time. Then we told him we needed it in New York. He went and passed it on the first time. We told him we need him in LA. He went past it on the first time. He was passing bars like Trayvon Martin was trying to eat Skittles. He's brilliant. Then he became the chairman of the new Black Panther Party. Could have easily hid in the suburbs. Got him a BMW and a credit card. Most of the time I was with him, we was at Motel 6 in the streets with our people. He'll wear that suit, but he'll wear that other suit. So I want to introduce you to a man who brought us here today. And we're privileged to have a man in the house that he respects and we respect. Y'all know that man, that author of all those books. See, this is a moment we got to cherish. Don't rush it.
That's right. That's right.
This ain't no pop-up happiness. This is people being born, people work. Do you know what it takes to go to Howard University Law School where Charles Hampton, Houston taught Thurgood Marshall? Do you know what it takes to get through that law school and be a black revolutionary while you locking the president of the school in his office? Let me bring you my friend, Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz.
Praise God.
Good evening. All right. So, thank you both for coming out. Dr. Cornel West, Dr. Malik Zulu Shabazz.
That's right.
Just to give the format of tonight's debate. So, each moderator will ask a question to the participants. Each participant will have 3 minutes to respond to the question asked of them. There will be a minute allotted for any follow-up questions that the moderator may have to you. The first segment will last about 30 minutes. There will be a 10-minute break while we switch moderators and go into the second part of our program, which will last approximately 45 minutes. We will then open the floor to questions from the audience for about an hour. After the question and answer segment from the audience, there will be a VIP meet and greet upstairs with refreshments. To start off, we will have opening statements from Attorney Shabazz and Dr. Cornel West. Dr. Cornel West, you can begin first.
Oh, well, thank you so very much. My dear brother ought to go first because he's younger than I am. And much more handsome. But I'm blessed to be here. And I'm here in part because when he called me, I couldn't wait to get here. Known him for 20 years. He's a love warrior. Younger generation, as I say, for me, the intergenerational connection is very important. As you get closer to the worms, you recognize that you have to give what you have to give in order to pass it on to the younger generation. And we go back to over 25 years, and a lot of people are surprised about that because they know my dear brother, Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz, he is, in fact, one of the most significant, if not the most significant spokespersons for the Black Power wing of the Black Freedom Movement of his generation. And I'm old school. I come out of the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. and Ella Baker and Fannie Lou Hamer. I'm Jesus-loving free black man, always interested in beginning on the chocolate side of town, but the multiracial coalition is always very important. So people don't recognize the degree to which the legacy of the great Marcus Garvey, the legacy of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the legacy of Minister Louis Farrakhan, the black nationalist tradition has always been there. It will always be there as long as we live in a white supremacist civilization. And so the question is, how do we come together, overlap, have our disagreements as well as our arguments, but put the people at the center because their suffering is what we want to keep insights, analysis, and programs that can empower those Sly Stone call everyday people, or those James Cleveland call ordinary people, because they are rendered invisible. Their suffering oftentimes is an afterthought when it comes to politicians, economic elite, corporate elite, big banks, big corporations, corporate media, or those power structures that so deeply and disproportionately shape the lives of each and every one of us. How much time do I have, though, brother?
15 minutes. You have 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Take your time.
We got 15 minutes?
Yes, sir.
Oh, well, shit, I'm going to slow this down. I don't want to take time away from my brother. Let me begin on a personal note then first. That I am who I am because somebody loved me. Teach Dr. West. Somebody cared for me. Somebody attended to me. That all the talk about Harvard, Yale, Princeton, University of Paris, that's just sounding brass and tinkling cymbal compared to the love of my mother, Irene B. West, and my father, Clifton West. Oh no, you got to be clear about your roots, where you come from. When you come from the chocolate side of town, the Shiloh Baptist Church of Reverend Willie P. Cook and Deacon Hinton and Sarah Ray, my vacation Bible school teacher, and Cook was a pastor. He was not a CEO. Didn't have a mega church, but we had mega love. We had love of truth and love of beauty, love of goodness and love of the holy. And we are living now in a neo-fascist era of Donald Trump, in which there's a spiritual blackout. There's the eclipse of integrity, honesty, decency, and courage. And what we need in the younger generation, for more young folk of all colors, but I'm talking about chocolate folk tonight, to get on the love train. That love of truth and beauty and goodness and holy, which means you have to be willing to sacrifice. And we're not talking about just being successful so people can somehow highlight how smart you are, how much money you have, or your big mansion in a vanilla suburb with your trophy spouse. I'm not impressed by none of that. What I learned in shaping in my family and church and the Black Panther Party and Martin Luther King Jr. and Medgar Evers and Malcolm X and the others is the greatest among us will be our servant in terms of the willingness to tell the truth, and the condition of truth is always to allow suffering to speak. And anybody who claims that they're telling the truth and not highlighting the suffering of the least of these echoes of the 25th chapter of Matthew. It's a truncated truth. It's a narrow truth. It's a deodorized truth. I come from a people who like to keep it funky. We don't need deodorized discourses that hide and conceal the suffering. And we now live in a moment where there's such a crisis of Black spokesmen and spokeswomen and leaders because so many of them have become so obsessed with fitting in. And fitting in means what? Being highly successful but well adjusted to injustice. It means making big money but becoming well adapted to indifference. The great Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel used to say, indifference to evil is more evil than evil itself. Indifference is the one trait that makes the very angels. And we need Black folk who are on fire. We do not need sunshine soldiers in the Trump era. We need all-season warriors. Professional, intellectual, musical, spiritual, doctors, lawyers, pharmacists, janitors, shoe shine, women and men, anybody who is still breathing has the capacity to be great in terms of your service to the least of these. And we're losing sight of that, and that's why for the younger generation, they need to be, it's a Sankofa sensibility, they need to be connected to the best of the people, community, and tradition that produced them. That's why Howard University is so significant. Producing this brother, produced Toni Morrison, Leroy Jones, known as Mary Baraka, Felicia Rashad. We can go on and on and on. And that's just those who are able to go to that university to deal with that black middle class context. Nothing wrong with being middle class if you're in service to all classes. But something is pathological about it. If it's just a matter of being obsessed with your status, obsessed with your brand, and forgetting your cause. Oh, that's a market-driven culture. This is a market-driven culture we live in. People are obsessed with getting over, obsessed with the 11th commandment, thou shalt not get caught. True. You see it on Wall Street. Market manipulation, insider trading, predatory lending. How many Wall Street criminals went to jail? Not one. See it in the politicians tied to legalized bribery and normalized corruption, with big money shaping and molding how they perceive a policy, and poor and working people suffering, and they breakdancing because the stock market's breaking records. But when it comes to the quality of the life of working people and poor people, nobody wants to talk about it in both parties. I'm talking about a cold-hearted, mean-spirited Republican Party and a milquetoast neoliberal Democratic Party, both of them tied to corporate elites, both of them tied to imperial policies. How many voices did you hear when 550 Palestinian babies were killed in 50 days? Not a mumbling voice. And a Palestinian baby has exactly the same status as a precious Jewish baby. And a Jewish baby has precisely the same status as a precious Palestinian baby. How come? Because we have a leadership that has become so locked into conformity, complicity, and becoming so well adjusted to the status quo. This is a moment where the fire, love of truth and goodness, holy and the beautiful, must become contagious. And it's not a matter of just ideology. We'll see. We've got some differences, of course. A lot of people like to always highlight our differences. I've told the world over and over again that I love Marcus Garvey. I love the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I love Minister Louis Farrakhan. I love this brother here. I love Dr. Khalid. People say, Brother West, how can you love him? He's saying so many things about the Jewish brothers and this and that. I say the brother ain't got no monopoly on truth, but I love it. Because I could discern in his heart, mind, and soul and body a deep love of a people who've been taught to hate themselves. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. Then we bring in our moral and spiritual criteria and wrestle and teach. I have been taught by this brother. I've been taught by Minister Louis Farrakhan. I've been taught by Marcus Garvey. I've been taught by Queen Mother Moore. And I still stand in the tradition of Martin King and Donny Hathaway and Curtis Mayfield and Nina Simone. Why? Because we're part of the same tradition of struggle for black freedom. We just have different ways and lenses and analysis at times. But the most important thing is, going in on this, we willing to live and die for what we talk about. That's the bottom line. That's what it's all about. Young folk know we care, we're concerned about you. Worried about that low quality music you're listening to all the time. For black people, given the special role of music in the shaping of our spirits and souls, just make sure that they have access only to weak music, and you can be rest assured. It's going to be hard to produce a courageous people who straighten their backs up and tell the truth. I think I've gone long enough, my brother, but thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. West. All right, Dr. 15 minutes begins.
All right. Giving honor to God, I bear witness that regardless to land, regardless to label, regardless to language, I bear witness that there is but one God.
I'm most honored to be here at the debate of the decade. I'm humbled to be on the podium with my big brother, one of the greatest scholars of our era or any era, a man that I've studied from for years, I admire greatly, and I'm honored just to be on the stage with Harvard University, Princeton University's immortal, the Honorable Dr. Cornel West. Honored. I'm happy, I'm honored here to be with, again, who introduced me, the chairman of the new Black Panther Party, Chairman Hashim Nzinga. Let's give him a hand. That's Nzinga. Thank you, sir. You know, he done took my old job. And he's doing well with it. To the moderators here, the esteemed panel of moderators, some of the strongest activists here anywhere to be found in the Black nation. Who wasn't mentioned here, now I've said this, Dr. West is from Harvard University, he's from Princeton University, he's got all the Ivy League credentials and he certainly deserves them. Magna cum laude. I'm just up here out of Howard University saying, thank you, Lordy. Howard University undergrad, political science, Howard University history major, school graduate and attorney at law here and in several jurisdictions, and who wasn't mentioned, Brother Jeremy from Howard Law School, one of our moderators. Brother Jeremy, let's give him a hand. Howard University. Whatever I say here today, even before Louis Farrakhan, even before Dr. Khalid Muhammad, I was taught in the halls of the political science department at Howard University by my professors who molded, shaped, and fashioned what I have to say today. Which way under Donald Trump? Which way under President? It's hard to say it because we really don't want to say it. But I can't say just 45 because that's not reality. The reality is that, oh, no good Donald Trump has made his way all the way to the White House. The reality is that the executive branch of government and the White House is occupied now by Donald Trump. And now the question has to be asked, which way under Donald Trump? Speaking primarily to my people, and there are others here, because the world wants to know which way under Donald Trump. I see some of my Muslim family from other countries, rooted in other countries, American citizens, but rooted in other areas. I see them here. But I here want to talk to, first of all, the Black man and the Black woman. I want to say in this time of fear, in this time of confusion, in this time of anxiety, in this time of worry and concern, it is imperative that we as leaders and advocates come forth and ask the question, which way under Donald Trump? Not an easy question. Many of us and many in our community are in shock. Yeah, they're in shock. You got so comfortable with President Barack Hussein Obama. You got so comfortable looking at the First Lady of the United States, the President's wife, Michelle Obama. You got comfortable watching that on your Channel 4 News at night, watching it on CNN at night. You got comfortable, you got happy, you got love to sleep with a Black man in the White House, and now many of us have caught almost cardiac arrest. Many of us are now on the verge of fainting, passing out, and falling out because Mr. Obama, he's gone surfing. He's out there, but he's done with this. And now that man who you say is that handsome man in the White House, you have to look at old ugly Donald Trump. Am I right? Yes, sir. But what I'm going to articulate to you today and tonight, and with the help of Dr. West, as we navigate through this debate, is that we don't want to just talk about his physical ugliness, even though it's hard to avoid. We want to go to the ugliness of his policies, the ugliness of his rise, the ugliness of what's behind his rise, and how he came to power, and who he came to power on the wings of, and why he came to power. And I am here to say, to propose my first position is that Donald Trump comes into office riding a wave of white resentment, a wave of white supremacy, a wave of white backlash against black people, and a wave of white backlash against having a black man in the White House. It's a whole lot of resentment involved. A whole lot of jealousy involved. A whole lot of deep-seated racism that was here before Donald Trump and we'll have to deal with after Donald Trump. Because one thing I want to say before we go any further is I don't expect Donald Trump to be in office any longer than 12 months. I give him 12 months. But he's brought in, and I will get into how and why I say he has a term of 12 months or less. He rides in on a wave of white backlash. He rides in now with his chief supporters who carry Confederate flags. They are in the ranks of Donald Trump. His approval rating amongst the Klan, the Ku Klux Klan and white supremacist organization is in the high 90 percentile. Supremacist Ku Klux Klan voters. He captured 65% of the uneducated white vote. The white people who are not educated, who I guess they say don't know much, they are overwhelmingly Trump supporters. Well, that seems to fit, well, because Trump don't know much, and neither do the people that he knows. He is backed by a racist movement. Some kind of debate upon whether Donald Trump is a racist or not. I say he is. Maybe you say he is, and we'll get into that. There's no question about it. His followers, his supporters are white men and white males who feel that their grip on their country is slipping and sliding. They see in us a threat to white supremacy and white domination of America, thus the term "Make America Great Again." We say "Make America Great Again" as black people want to know when. What era are you talking about? Was it the Jim Crow era that America was great? And if it was great for you, was it great for us? Was it the era of lynchings and lynching the black man and hanging him from the tree? As Bessie Smith said, the trees in the South had a strange fruit with blood dripping at the root. Is that the time we're talking about? What make America great when? Coded language, a dog whistle to the racist forces in America who have now swept into the White House. Trump, O'Bannon, Breitbart, running the White House now. The Breitbart squad, O'Bannon and Gorky, running the White House now. White supremacists, white racism, what they call the alt-right, now right inside 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. xenophobia being pushed down our throats. Hate everybody. Hate the Mexican. Hate the brown man. Hate the Muslim from abroad. Hate everybody but the Americans, and then soon they're going to get down to who the real Americans are. Don't you be fooled, black people, talk about everybody else, because it's coming to your doorstep. It's coming to your house next, and it's all planned by design, and they got it laid out for you, what they have planned for your neighbor. Doorstep next. So I say, as I open up here, we have to call on the ancestors for guidance right now. We must call on the ancestors. I ask you the question, what would beloved Sister Harriet Tubman, what would she say right now about what to do under President Donald Trump? We must call on Sojourner Truth, Mary McLeod Bethune, ask these two queens who are our ancestors, which way under Donald Trump? We have to ask ourselves, if Reverend Nat Turner was here, the most honorable Reverend Nat Turner was here, what would he say about which way under Donald Trump? If the Honorable Bishop Henry McNeil Turner here, the great immigrationist with an E, Bishop Henry McNeil Turner were here, what would he advise us to do under President Donald Trump? If the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who taught us one God, one aim, one destiny, who gives us the red, the black, and the green, if Mr. Garvey was here, what would he advise us? What would he say about which way under Donald Trump? If the most honorable Elijah Muhammad was here on the scene today, what would he advise? If Minister Malcolm X was here on the scene today, Dr. West, what would he advise? If the Honorable Stokely Carmichael, we call Kwame Ture, but I love Stokely Carmichael, if he were here today, which way would he advise? If the Honorable, the most honorable, beloved Dr. Martin Luther King was here today, brothers and sisters, people who are listening, what would Dr. King advise today about which way under Donald Trump? If Huey P. Newton, the great gun-toting defense man and leader of the Black Panther Party were here, what would he advise about which way under Donald Trump? And if Dr. Khalid Muhammad, the great student of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, if Dr. Khalid Muhammad was here
2 more minutes, Attorney,
on this night, thank you, sir, was here on this stage tonight, which way would he advise under Donald Trump? I have to call on the ancestors. And I have to be a mouthpiece for them tonight. And the first thing I want to say is that we can survive. That black people, we can survive. We have survived the worst Holocaust of any people, anywhere, anytime. The Black Holocaust is the worst Holocaust of all time, 100 times worse than any other Holocaust that's ever existed. We can survive. We've survived Jim Crow. We've survived the lynchings. We've survived the worst of America. So we say to Mr. Trump, come on, Mr. Trump, that we will call on our God and we will survive you. And you will go down before we do. Huh? I'm closing. We are God's chosen people. And like the 4 Hebrew boys was burning, had them burned in an oven. The 4 Hebrew boys burning in an oven, but there was a God with them in them fiery flames. And the fiery flames, as it looks like right now, Trump is a burnt orange fiery flame. I'm here to tell you that we will survive the flames of Donald Trump, and God will bring us out. And like the dry bones, bring us together as an exceedingly great army. I'm here to talk tonight about which way under Donald Trump. Thank you.
thank you both for those wonderful opening statements. So the first topic of debate will be that of economics.
Good evening, Brother Hakiyami here. Dr. West, thank you, sir. Brother E. Franklin Frazier, he's from Baltimore, I must say, as well as he's a Howard University professor, author of Black Bourgeoisie, and Professor Harold Cruz, author of The Crisis of the Negro Intellect. Both offer critiques of the middle class, institutions, and the academy. Dr. Cruz, in particular, theorized about the work of these organizations and held principles and policies of non-economic liberalism. How does your analysis today differ or synergize with the theories of both of these great intellectuals?
Thank you for that question. We live at the very end of a neoliberal era. And by neoliberal, what I mean is there's been a massive transfer of wealth from poor and working people to the top 1%. 25 years ago, the top 1% had 21% of the wealth. Today, 1% of the population has 42% of the wealth. And on a global scale, 8 individuals have wealth equivalent to 1/2 of humanity. That's 8 versus 3.6 billion children of God. So that the neoliberal era that began in 1973 or so, which is about 20 years after the great E. Franklin Frazier wrote that classic, Black Bourgeoisie, in 1957. We have seen capitalist civilization with monopolies having a disproportionate amount of power in the economy shift from corporations that produce things like American Motors, in which you actually had products, and when workers produced those products, they had some slice of the profits, and therefore their wages went up. We shift now to big banks. It's called the financializing of monopoly capitalism. So in big banks, you don't produce products, you make deals. That's another reason why Trump is a symbol, because he's a deal maker. And so you end up with hedge funds and private equities and a variety of different institutions that have billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars, and none of it trickles down to ordinary working and poor people. That's why they can say there's been a recovery since 2008, and why it is in the last week, and why it is since Donald Trump took office, the stock market's been breaking records. 20,000 now is down. And they think that's a recovery, but they don't understand. There's God's children who are catching hell. So that we have to come up with ways in which we get redistribution of wealth downward. Downward. Part of it has to do with the fact that 54 cents of every dollar goes to the military. So war priorities. When America goes to war, we find the money. Money for our children's schools, where we need jobs for the living wage, we need decent housing. You can't find the money. When you want a big stadium for your city, they find the money. But when it comes to quality education for precious children, they can't find it. Why? Because in neoliberal capitalist society, they are catering to the top 1%. That's why Occupy was important. That's why the movement for Black Lives, which is the most important moral and spiritual awakening among young people in this nation across the board, they have that critique of capitalist civilization. And that's why the economy has to be a starting point. We won't get into businesses and how business can be empowered until later, but can I get a repeat on the question?
Well, thank you, Dr. Shabazz, Attorney Shabazz. You've cast yourself as a race man and a Garveyite and a student of teachings of Elijah Muhammad. In today's society in 2017, with the advent of global shifts, ethnic strife, and multiculturalism, do you still hold fast to every aspect of the economic theories of both of these proponents?
Yes, I do. I want to be clear. I come to hold fast to the economic program of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I come to hold fast to the economic program of the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I come to point out the fact that in 2017, that blacks in America have $1.2 trillion in buying power. And I want to make the contention that our inability to use our economic power, our inability to economically empower ourselves, buy what ourselves, employ ourselves, invest in ourselves, become economically powerful is one reason, that we are being taken advantage of by Trump and his forces right now. I was taught early on that politics without economics is symbol without substance. And that all of the politics, the demonstrations, everything that we do politically is important. But if we don't have the finance and the capital and the economic power to back it, then we are short-circuiting or we're wasting our time. I'm not only here to say that we have gone away, Brother Haki, that is the question is, do we still hold fast to Elijah and Garvey? I'm here to argue that we have never fulfilled and obeyed Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and we never obeyed the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and we disobeyed our prophets. And that's why we are in the condition we are in right now. We are in the condition that we're in right now. As the scriptures say, lying at the foot of the gate of the rich man, begging for some crumbs that come off the rich man's table. Oh, Steve Harvey, I'm embarrassed at you, Steve Harvey. Oh, Jim Brown, tipping up the Trump Towers, my hero, the greatest running back of all time, but you made an error when you ran up the Trump Towers. Jim Brown, Kanye West, you should have went west. What are you doing, Kanye? Kim must have your head twisted in the wrong direction. We asked the question in our presentation, or should we start begging Donald Trump? And I'm here to tell you that begging is not going to do it. I'm here to tell you that like Marcus Garvey, we got to have ships on the high seas like Mr. Garvey. I'm here to say that we must have stores and grocery stores in our community. We can't depend on others to serve us, that we're going to be the losers unless we right now start serving ourselves. The time is right more than ever for black economic power, for doing for self, for buying up land and buying up property and spending with ourselves. This is the heyday. And this is the time that either we obey Mr. Garvey and obey Mr. Muhammad and totally concentrate our financial resources and use them for our people, or otherwise we destruct.
Thank you, sir. All right. Dr. West, you have a 1 minute rebuttal, sir. Get to rebut. Get to add on 1 minute. 1 minute. Yes, sir.
Oh, yes. I think that the spiritual crisis in Black America is inseparable from our economic crisis. Because we can't even generate the kind of Black institutions unless we have Black love.
The mic messed up, people, so calm down.
Women? Y'all didn't hear that?
Give him his mic. Somebody check the mic.
Oh, yeah. Well, we just let that go. You heard, I appreciate that, my sister. The question is, how do we learn to trust one another in such a way that we can sustain our institutions? And when we get our institutions, we have leaderships who are servants of the community rather than self-servers who oftentimes recycle the wealth within their own individual context. That's a spiritual question. That's a moral question. All that money that our dear brother talked about, that's a lot of money. It's a whole lot. Now, I would argue, though, that even when you do that, you still got to deal with monopoly capitalism. You still got to deal with Wall Street. You still got to deal with the 1% at the top. But even as small business women and men, we can do so much better if we learn to work together. How do we learn to work together? That's a deep spiritual question. Look at the grand examples. of when black folk work together. We have ancestors speak. What went into them? How did they become more other regarding rather than self-regarding? How did they try to kill their egoism and kill their hedonism and their narcissism and become connected to something bigger than them? Now, as a Christian, I got Jesus, but I'm not going to trot that out right now. And I say that in all honesty because, you know, most of our churches have become accommodationists to the market culture. You see? That's why you have market Christianity, commodified religion, and chamber of commerce religion. You're adjusting folk to the market culture rather than trying to be of service to others. This went out too, though, didn't it? Yeah. Thank you so much. Do you need this though? Yours is one.
You need to hook Dr. West back up.
I'm hooked up with this though, brother.
No, excuse me.
I'm hooked up with this.
I want him to turn that expensive mic back on. we talking economics here.
That's true.
That might cost money.
That's true.
Now hold on, let me get 1 minute here. I learned so much from Dr. West, and I want to say this. I want to say up here, and I want to, as a black, as they say, my political position, like Minister Malcolm X, is black nationalism. And I want to say it's all right to talk about Jesus up in here with me. But I want to say here, when I speak of Jesus, I'm not talking about that portrait of Michelangelo's cousin.
That's right.
I'm talking about that black Jesus with that nappy hair. The book of Revelations had hair like lamb's wool and feet like fine brass burned in an oven.
Yeah, that's right.
Yahshua, or Jesus in the New Testament, is found taking a loaf of bread and spreading it amongst the multitudes. And what I'm here to say is that I do not like living in a society where one person can run the football and make $20 million a year, but a teacher who is teaching our babies can't get but a little more than $20,000.
That's right. That's right.
I don't want to live.
That's right.
I don't want to live in a society where you can pull your backside or your behind up and make millions, but those that are caring for the disabled, the senior citizens, and those that need our help can barely get by. This world has got to come down.
That's right.
And we got to build a movement to bring it down.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I lost a couple seconds in the beginning.
Oh, that's true.
Praise God.
I hope you can hear me. This question follows up with the economics that we were discussing. Oftentimes, there's a subset of our community who believes that in order to really be for the people, you must struggle financially. Those who make top dollar are often referred to as Uncle Toms or sellouts. Further, many of our people were never taught financial education or literacy and thus don't understand how to manage money. So question for both of you, how important is financial literacy in our movement generally? And do you have to be poor in order to advance the liberation for our people?
Is that for me though, brother?
Why you tell us?
Okay, Attorney Shabazz, you go first, 3 minutes.
Did I cover that? That's wonderful.
Really, the question is you two well-paid professors? Is Dr. West, who is an Ivy League professor, I don't know what his salary is, but I'm sure it's nice.
But compared to my bills, though, brother, but that's another thing.
Wait, that's an important question. And the question is Mr. Shabazz, with your salary, and I ain't poor, okay? The question is, are you two well-suited, seeming to be well-placed individuals? How can you be authentically for this cause? And if you are authentically for this cause, what advice would you give to others? I would say from personal experience that only Dr. West and I'll speak for myself, but I want to speak for him also. I think that he represents a great selflessness and a great example to the learned amongst our people. And those that get degrees and get placed in high places that haven't forgot about their people. That's the kind of man he is. That's why I admire him. He easily could have turned his nose up at us. He easily could have gone on to other places where he wouldn't receive criticism for what he's doing, but his principles and his morals bear witness to who he is, and therefore what he makes has nothing negative to do with it. That's true. That's what I observe of him. Now myself, everybody who knows me knows that I'm damn near a fool in love with black people.
Yeah, beautiful thing. Beautiful.
I mean, if I get $1, if I get 100, if I get 1,000, if I get 100,000, how much of it, sir, will I give up to the Black Panther Party? Huh? How much of it will I give up to you and all of these cities that you may have seen me struggling in?
Shabazz, 1 minute.
I thank you. I give up everything I have almost in my being, almost to the point that it don't even make sense, to help black people, to help build a movement, to help fight racism, to help fight police brutality. I literally sometimes give it all up, not even just financial, but my whole status. Oh, people like old Dershowitz up at Howard University and others sit down with their pens and they write letters on me to the Bar Association trying to take my license. They attack me. I've been, yeah, they have. I go in the airports at other times in the airport, Transportation Security Administration, all on my neck. FBI sometimes, all on my neck. Justice Department, all on my neck, threatening all of my money. 100% dedicated to the cause, still dedicated to the cause. So it's not the money. It's not the money. It's the character and the principle of the person that has it. And I'm here to say that if you got character and you got some smarts and you stand up, you'll get some money.
Thank you, Dr. Shabazz.
You have some
Thank
money.
you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Shabazz. Dr. Cornel West, you have 3 minutes.
No, the brother spoke with great wisdom. He did, no doubt about it. It's easier for a rich man to the eye of a needle than for a camel to get through. And the reason I think I didn't get it right, but y'all got the meaning, that it is true that in our society, our conception of the self is one in which if we can have more possessions and commodities, maybe somehow that can hide and conceal our suffering and wounds and bruises and scars. But only a certain kind of spirituality can speak to your identity that allows you to have integrity, honesty, decency, and courage, no matter how much money you do have. If you view life as a gold rush, you will end up worshiping the golden calf. And that's the dominant orientation of our society. Joyless quest for pleasure with big cash. The challenge is the deed. Life is about not producing the foliage that people see, but the fruits that you bear in the deeds that you do. So you can be a Harry Belafonte and be a multimillionaire, but in his deeds, you see the fruit. Or you can be very rich, athlete, entertainer, worth $400 million, and you're still wrestling with psychic breakdown and spiritual vacuity and moral underdevelopment. And this is nothing original. We learned this from grandmama and granddaddy. Because they looked America in the face from the vantage point of being enslaved in Jim Crow. And what did they do? They gave America some of the most profound expressions of how to love. Swing low, sweet chariot.
1 minute.
Strange fruit. To be young, gifted, and black. I'm talking about Nina and Donnie. Sister Simone and Brother Hathaway. That's a richness comes from integrity, honesty, decency, telling the truth, wrestling with how you're going to live your life, not measured by what kinds of money you have. Now, on the other hand, I know that poverty itself will never become a mass movement. There will always be religious folk who make vows of poverty. I respect that. That ain't me, but I respect that. But at the same time, you got to be ready to be lied on, misunderstood, misconstrued, assassination, and maybe ultimately actual assassination.
Time.
And it's a beautiful thing.
Time, Dr. West.
To die for folk, because you give your life back to God. God gave you that life for you to give it.
Good evening, Black America. My name is Brother Reggie, and I am representing the boldest YouTube channel that Black youth and others really listen to, and that is Black News 102. I'm also the author of the Black City Plan. In order to survive Donald Trump and other tyrants on the eve of the assassination of Malik Shabazz, that's today, 52 anniversary of his death, we must have a plan to power. And our path to power has to begin in our cities. So I want to ask you, where does our power really lie? Does it lie in the cities, the state, and the federal government? And if it lies in the cities, we must take them. And we have two men who are great leaders. We have a Frederick Douglass here, and we have an Malik Shabazz right here. I am asking you, where does the revolution begin in 2017? Thank you.
Who you ask? Who's the question to first, sir? Who is your question to? First.
First,
Yes, sir.
I'll give it to Dr. Cornel West. A chance to clean up, young fella.
So, appreciate that question, though, brother. Did he say myself or you? Was it you, doctor? No, did you say man? Oh, yes, to me. Okay, yeah, all right. I think the neo-fascist era, you have to have truth tellers. Brother Donald Trump is a gangster in character.
Teach.
Grabbing women's private parts, that's gangster. Taking oil for Iraq if he wants to, that's gangster. He's a neo-fascist in content. So what we have to do is, first on a national level, there's got to be an anti-fascist, multiracial coalition to push back his disregard for rule of law, which has been systematic for 400 years for black people, but it's intensified. On a local level, we've got to have grassroots activism, and we have to have elected officials who are not in the pockets of the big corporations and big banks. They have to be servants of the people. So we have to have a localism that's offensive, and we have to have a multiracial coalition against fascists in the White House and other places that is defensive. That to me is the most important thing right now. In addition, we got our precious young folk and that marvelous new militancy that's happening among them. We don't know exactly what form because they're creative, they're innovative, you see. And they're going to be highly suspicious of politics because politics didn't deliver for them. They had a black president, they had a black attorney general, they had a black homeland security, and they still got shot down by the police. And now one policeman went to jail as a result of federal pressure. A key sweat moment, something just ain't right. So our young people look at politics and say, these politicians don't deliver. We got a black president and we still getting shot. I said, well, don't give up. Organize on a local level. Bring power to pressure to bear on a local level, you see. But they still have to be open to a multiracial coalition. Why? Because if fascism becomes pervasive across the board, not just in relation to indigenous peoples, not just in relation to black poor peoples, but across the board, then most of the folk in this room will be dead or incarcerated. People say, oh, Brother Webster, that never happened in America. Get off the crack pipe. Get off the crack pipe. Fascism happens when fellow citizens no longer have the courage and the vision to push it back. And America can go fascist like any other nation across the board. We already know because white supremacist slavery and American terrorism and Jim Crow Sr. and Jim Crow Jr. have shown the fascist face of America already in the past. But when it spills over across the board, then we discover, Lord, something ain't right. I know when my dear brother Barack Obama said America's a magical place, I told him, you're going to have a Christopher Columbus experience. You're going to discover America. Ain't nothing magical about America. You could be a first-generation voluntary immigrant and think something's magical, but when you come from an enslaved Jim Crow people, you know ain't nothing magical about America. If we don't fight for freedom, our backs will be crushed.
Dr. West, time.
Yes, absolutely. Appreciate that. But hey, hold on one second. Even in the presidential debate, they give him a warning and let the man go a little. They don't just tackle the man. Oh. Huh? Whose mic is fault?
Testing.
Give him just a little wiggle room, you know? We understand we got time constraints, but give him a little rhythm room. Give him a little rhythm room. Let me say this here before they get on me. Just because they from Black Lawyers for Justice don't mean they cutting me any breaks here today. Fascism is here. The threat of fascism is real. Fascism meaning an authoritarian government. Trump aspires to be authoritarian. He aspires to have total control. He doesn't like to share power with anyone. And Trump believes in crushing his enemies. Donald Trump does not believe in the separation of powers. He doesn't agree with Marbury versus Madison. Donald Trump does not respect the courts of the United States of America. If a judge rules against Donald Trump, immediately this fool goes on Twitter. Probably had a cocktail late at night, up here tweeting. As the president of the United States, aren't you embarrassed? What am I saying as I get to your question, brother? We're going to explore that later. But he's a real fascist. He wants to be a fascist. He wants to shut down the press. He wants to shut down the media. He wants to shut down the courts. He personally attacks judges, calls them so-called judges, even when the fool got a case pending. And you wonder why you lose the case, fool. Donald Trump is a fool. And you know he's a fool. But if he's crazy like a fox. What am I saying here today? Dear brother, I'm going to explore this question as we go into this debate.
Time, brother. That's time.
Let me finish my sentence. You stop with all this choking me with the time. What I'm saying first, sir, to get to this question of where our movement must be headed, I will say that as Black people, we must understand that we must embrace, we must do what Dr. Khalid Muhammad wanted us to do, which is resist to exist. And we have to be a part of the resistance against fascism and authoritarianism and resistance against Trump. And I get to the details later when I get a chance.
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm looking here with two men, both who represent two sides of the Black liberation struggle. One, a nationalist, the other, an integrationist. We witnessed the horrific creation of AFRICOM under a white Republican president, and then we witnessed its horrific growth under a Black Democratic presidents. What do you two gentlemen, or you two brothers in the struggle, feel that a Trump presidency means to the Caribbean and Africa and the diaspora, and how should people of African descent across the world deal with it? I would like to start with you, Attorney Shabazz. 3 minutes.
Thank you so much. I believe that Donald Trump is a wannabe colonialist. I believe that Donald Trump has all the danger signs of a serious imperialist. I believe that Donald Trump, as president and head of the Army, as head of the Navy, as head of the Armed Forces of America, represents a danger to the peoples of the planet Earth, a danger to Africa, a danger to the Middle East. He's a danger to everybody on the 196,940,000 square miles of the planet. I believe that whatever we've seen in the past, according to his statements, that we should have took the oil in Iraq. He has taken us back now to the 1800 ages of imperialism, where he believes the U.S. military should just go gangster and take what it wants. And Mr. Trump psychologically and politically bears all the signs of a serious gangster. And so my contention is that we must embrace Pan-Africanism. We must build, Pan-Africanism. It's the time now to build a worldwide Pan-African movement. It is time now for Black organizations, Black activists, and Blacks in the Caribbean and Africa and America to drop the borders. I always tell my people, you're not a minority. You're not a minority of 15% in America. You outnumber white people on the face of the planet Earth 11 or 12 to 1. You are a 1 billion strong Black Pan-African superpower. If you would wake up to who you are not a minority. That's right.
1 minute.
So you shouldn't be, thank you. You shouldn't be afraid in this hour. You should understand where our power really lies. We are 1 billion Pan-African Black superpower on the face of the planet Earth. If we would end our divisions, end our jealousy of each other, end our dysfunction with each other, end our hatred of each other, end our inability to work with each other, end the war inside of the Black community, the Muslims against the Christians, against the East Coast, against the West Coast. As Black people today, we can defeat Donald Trump, but we must have unity and we must drop the divisions all over the planet Earth.
Now, I wanted to just say briefly, Dr. West, although you are an integrationist and you are a disciple of Dr. King, I've heard you and Attorney Shabazz over the years speak very highly of the necessity of Blacks in the diaspora working together. So that was the reason why I asked this question. And many people may think because you're a nationalist that you don't believe in helping having a Pan-Africanist mentality. So I'm sorry to say. 3 minutes.
Yeah, no, indeed. It's true. I would never describe myself as an integrationist because I'm first and foremost a freedom fighter who is focused on those Frantz Fanon called the wretched of the earth. And it means then that I'm first and foremost, as a Christian, an internationalist. You see, I'm not a flag waver, I'm a cross bearer. You see, I choose to wear the cross, and every flag is under that cross. And that cross signifies unarmed truth and unconditional love. All human beings made in the image of God. So in that sense, if they say integration is this kind of perception of within the United States, you got just blacks and whites and how you're going to relate. But on that global scale, you see. So that when I look at America, I see a number of things. But the first thing I see is a huge American empire that dropped 26,172 bombs on 7 Muslim countries last year. No talk about that in the press. Since 2001, we've killed over 1 million Muslims. Every Muslim life is as precious as every non-Muslim life. And we wonder why ISIS and Al-Qaeda is upset about us. Can you imagine what would happen in America if 500,000 white brothers and sisters were killed within 9 years? The Ku Klux Klan would be a mass movement. And that's fascist. The Klan's fascist. ISIS is fascist. But it's a response to the value of a Muslim life. We act as if a Muslim life has no value. Only when an American is killed do we get any concern. Kill over 255 babies in Yemen and Pakistan and Afghanistan. You kill one American, you have a press conference and financial compensation for the family. See how narrow and truncated and spiritually empty that is? And for coming from a black people, we know what it is not to have our life to have the same value. So the question becomes that in Trump now, you get militarism, pounding, war pounding against China and possibly others, Iran. But that's the beginning of an answer to that question. I appreciate that's a very we might have to be a way to kind of weave it back so that we can touch some of the aspects of the question that we couldn't get to. Is that all right, you all? We can be a little jazz-like? A little improvisation? That's cool. I answer first. My counter?
Go ahead, 1 minute counter.
I'm gonna reserve time. I just reserve time for the next set of questions. I know there are many.
Okay, that's fair enough.
That's nice.
That's fair enough, brother. We will move on, Mr. Shabazz. The next question is on gentrification. I'm going to ask the question. Please listen to the full call of the question before you answer. The effects of the slave trade left black slaves with the whips and the bruises on their backs from the brutality of their slave masters. Land passed to them from their guilty slave masters who were forced to repent for their sins. Black people, of course, was passed land during this process to their descendants for that land to pass from generation to generation. Yet, what was once Chocolate City in DC is now the North Pole. And the land developers are profiting over the uprooting of millions of black people and replacing them with the white counterparts sent into the inner city to take loaner jobs given by whites back from the black man. And get rich off and extort the fruits of black slave labor that built this country. Mr. Shabazz, you pass up and down and give thousands of dollars to local community businesses to help black people. You even stand on the corners to talk about marching and voicing your plans to interrupt commercial building developers from building. But isn't it true that you failed to demonstrate a scheme or a direct strategy under Trump of shifting capital from the hands of the greedy white supremacy under Trump and into the hands of African Americans in this country? Isn't it also true you fall short of your teachings on how to become a millionaire overnight? Black people need capital, Mr. Shabazz. With capital and knowledge is black power. The power to buy out our competitors, the power to bail out our black people from home foreclosures, cases of eminent domain and adverse possession. And the power to negotiate capital interests with Africa, our land of rich resources. Mr. West, you know about the ugly manifestation of gentrification and the need for control and power in this country. But isn't it true that you also failed to come up with your own strategic framework for African Americans in this country to take control of our property? Instead, sir, you paint the picture of arbitrariness in regards to cultural power in terms of white supremacy, which has become what you call the marvelous new militancy. Mr. Shabazz, you can answer yours first.
Oh, I'm telling you. I'm glad you first, brother. I'm glad you first. Woo! I need some water or something. Good God Almighty.
Let's let him answer. Let's let him answer.
Well, you couldn't expect to have a debate without some tough questions. But I want to say right off the gate that I'm not responsible at all for gentrification. I am not responsible at all for gentrification. I'm one of the most consistent advocates against gentrification, and I have a personal portfolio that bears witness to the strategic plan against gentrification, and I work on a daily basis and organize in my community to help others to fight this menace called gentrification. Now let's get into it, because I got some facts to combat what you said. Now let's talk about the problem. I'm one of the earliest in this city, and others who know me, for 20 years, back to 1995, I have been preaching about the destruction of Chocolate City and the oncoming threat of gentrification. I have organized some of the largest forums, information sessions, sessions where you can find out how to purchase housing, real estate, credit. I'm always driving and striving to try to wake up our people on this important subject matter of gentrification. Washington, D.C., our people are losing almost everything. In Atlanta, they're losing almost everything. Right here in the inner cities of America under President Donald Trump, we're losing power, and in this attack or this fight against gentrification, if we can build a defense line and fight back and gain control of the land, control of the property, control of the economy, that is a base to defend against the wickedness of Mr. Trump. Now I want to say this on a personal note. Yes, I think I've led by example. I have houses in the Black community. I refuse to sell out for the dollar. I maintain the property that I have in the Black community. The areas where I have or own or control property in the Black community, I have taken neighborhoods that were run down and desolate, and that other predators were trying to come in and buy. I wouldn't sell, but I redeveloped it and made it a haven for our own. Every week in our movement for Black power in Washington, D.C., we're doing what? We're not letting cranes go up in the Black community without calling attention to it, demonstrating against it, and we're making plans to stop these cranes inside Washington, D.C.
Warning, 30 seconds.
Let me say this. So all that I do personally is to fight against gentrification. Everything that I organize for and desire to organize for would be to fight this menace. And I'm here to tell you that all that I have for the future will be to try to protect the little that we have left here in Washington, D.C. I mean, Chocolate City is gone. It's Milk Chocolate City, ain't it? But it's not a joke. But it's not a joke. It's a serious problem, and it must be fought. And you have my commitment, my continuing commitment to fight the evils of gentrification.
Thank you, Brother Shabazz. Question is now from Mr. Cornel West.
Yeah, I appreciate that tough question. And I don't think I can answer the second part in terms of having a concrete strategy other than just putting body on the line, fighting to make sure that gentrification does not become overly successful. Let's be clear from what I understand it to be. Gentrification is not just a land grab, it's a power grab. The whole history of America, gentrification vis-a-vis indigenous peoples. It's taking their land, power, pushing the folk out. But we got to keep in mind they were Buffalo Soldiers, though, who were part of that American imperial expansion. So the issue of gentrification is one of both race but also class. Just as there's been Black mayors who have facilitated the gentrification. There's been Black city council members who facilitated gentrification. There have been those who have been in power positions who have accommodated themselves. Now, it's not a question of them being successful. All we ask for is your best. Try, fight. Sometimes you try and fight and you lose. That's all you can do. But you got to try and fight. You got to love the people enough to tell them what's going on and respect them enough to tell them what's going on. But these big money folk bring in our Black elites in such a way that the elites want to act as if something is going on, but what's happening is power grab, land grab, and they are benefiting because they're the public face. So the question becomes then, well, how do we stop it? Well, I just found out something today, namely this Recovery Act of Brother John Cheek and Joe Owens. Okay, if you're going to have justification, then there ought to be some means by which a major portion of the monies that you make are filtered back into the communities, especially those communities that have been disproportionately impacted, and going all the way back to slavery. It's not just present, but it's past as well. So we have a counter strategy, but I don't know of any concrete strategy because I don't know any places where there's been wholesale success against capitalist logics in urban spaces in which land grabs and power grabs do not push out the vulnerable.
All right, I get 1 minute, right?
This is a 1 minute rebuttal.
All right, I too want to endorse the District of Columbia Recovery Act for the living descendants of American slaves. Hold on, you ain't got but a minute, which is equivalent to a reparations referendum, a vote directly by the citizens of the District of Columbia, bypassing the city council, bypassing the mayor to put it directly into law. Not only this, since we want to talk about concrete strategy, we are drafting also to come on the ballot next year in this city an anti-gentrification referendum. Anti-gentrification referendum, where the citizens will go to the ballot and vote to stop all development till further notice. Just like Trump wanted to put his ban in on travel ban till we get it straightened out. But we are going to put a referendum on the ballot that brings a moratorium to all development until we can get this thing straightened out.
Thank you, time.
All right. So let me ask you this. If such a measure is put on the ballot in this city or your city, how many of you would back that referendum?
Thank you.
Let me see you by a show of hands. A referendum is a direct petition or direct putting on the ballot and making into law what that referendum stands for, overriding the city council and the mayor. The citizens go directly to the ballot and vote for what they want in the law. It's time that we start using referendum power to stop the destruction in our cities. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Shabazz.
Good evening to you both. This question comes from the Black nationalists of the Howard University School of Law. Many minorities benefited from the 1960s civil rights movement, but have consciously chosen not to advocate for the rights of Black people in today's society. Should Black people, knowing this fact, continue to support the agendas of other minority groups? Please give 2 reasons to back up your response. I would like if Dr. Cornel West could start.
Okay, I appreciate that, and I send my love and respect back to the Black nationalist group there at the law school. I think it is disappointing when you sacrifice based on principle for others and they refuse to do that for you. But in my own life, I have never tried to do the right thing just to get a personal benefit. I find great joy in trying to do something that's right and moral and just regardless of what the consequences are. And I think that's very important, because if in fact it becomes simply a quid pro quo, if we did something for you, then you ought to do something for us, then it becomes more and more just a matter of self-interest. And the best of the Black freedom movement has never been simply about self-interest. It's been about freedom. It's been about integrity. It's been about being a certain kind of moral and spiritual person. And sometimes it's better to lose momentarily with your dignity as opposed to winning and just be another gangster to make the gallery of gangsters more colorful. So that's a spiritual issue. But on the other hand, we got to put pressure to bear. So for example, when we make sacrifices for our precious brown brothers and sisters regarding undocumented immigrants, then we want to see them in our movement too. But we still going to support them. Same is true with some of the Muslims or whatever it is. You see, I'm by Muslims, especially from the Middle East and other places. You see, they might be reluctant. Don't want to spend too much time with Black folk. We say no. We standing with you because that's how we were raised. That's what we were taught, to be moral and spiritual freedom fighters. That includes everybody. And if you don't come our way, it shows that something is lacking in you spiritually, but we support you because it's the right thing to do.
That name, the Black Nationalists of Howard Law School. I mean, that just gives me flashbacks of my career at Howard Law. Let me say this. Everybody has come up off of the black struggle. And many have used the laws that we fought for and that Dr. King fought, took water hoses, and many died for. And they have come up off these rights and passed us on by and don't even look back. It could be fairly stated that the new advocacy for gay rights and LBGT rights, they benefit from the civil rights movement. Absolutely. But they've gone on and taken it as their own and passed us on by. Many here now are here because under Donald Trump, I got to be frank with you. On Donald Trump, you get to see how the white man is. And now they starting to see how we've been feeling all along. Now they coming over here with us. Coming over here with us. And guess what? Because we are the people of God, we embrace you. But we want to ask, it's a fair question to ask, when the struggles against police brutality were going down, where were you? That's right. That's right. That's right. When black lives needed to matter, where were you? At the time, you said and gave us a slight eye. You claimed that there was something wrong with us, that we weren't either working hard enough, or we was ungrateful, or we were complaining too much, because others, are my brothers and sisters, some from the Middle East, some were brown brothers and sisters, wherever they are from, whatever other group is, I had to say that it was somehow our fault, and they had a reason for not standing with us. And for many years, recently, through our struggles, we have stood by ourselves. I want to say this. We are merciful people, but there's a time limit on everything. There's a time limit on everything. So what I want to say here is, my Muslim brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum. I want to say that now you are getting in touch with the white man and the white people we've known about all these years. I want to say that despite what has happened, we need an alliance of all the oppressed. The only way we're going to win the war against white supremacy is to have a universal alliance of the oppressed against a common oppressor. But I do want to say that you must be in this for the long run. That's right. I mean, many of my sisters and brothers, they say, well, the immigrant struggle ain't my struggle. What's going on with the Mexicans coming across the border? Matter of fact, keep them across the border. They trying to take my job. I happen to disagree with them, because I say the attack on the brown man, the attack on the Mexican, and the attack on the Muslim, the attack on the Arab is a sign of the total attack that's coming down on black people. What you see at your neighbor's door will come to your own in just a short while. So I say to all of the others who are fighting, who are now facing the discrimination under Mr. Trump, I say I give you a limited period of time. Come on, and let's unite to overthrow Mr. Trump. See, I want that question to come. How we gonna overthrow Trump? Don't get me arrested up in this bed. We must have a united front of the oppressed. We must have a united front of the oppressed, and it must be an authentic alliance where we can trust each other and count on each other in the good times and bad.
Thank you, Attorney Shabazz.
All right. So the next question is we're going to change topics a bit and go into the law. In particular, the black on black crime narrative. Last month, Donald Trump tweeted, quote, if Chicago doesn't fix the horrible carnage going on, 228 shootings in 2017, with 42 killings, I will send the feds in, end quote. And according to a report by WGN, representatives of the Justice Department will visit Chicago this week. There were 344 homicides in Baltimore, with a majority of the victims being Black men. Out of 40 million Black people, only 2,664, or less than 0.1% of the people were murdered. In comparison, the CDC and Cancer.org reports that Blacks are more likely to die from heart disease, cancer, and diabetes. So my question to the both of you is the media coverage and propaganda of Black on Black crime just a farce and a tool used to usher in a police state? And also, though we as a people have a greater chance of dying from cancer and diabetes than a bullet, what are the tangible things that we can do to address violence in our communities? Dr. West?
Yeah, boy. Each time you hear those facts and realities, it's just chilling. And it just shows what little regard the elites in this society have for poor Black people. And there should have been a long time ago a major revival among the Black middle class to reunite and reconnect with poor and working poor people. But so many Black middle class persons have become not just professionalized, but niggerized. And it's a dangerous thing to have a niggerized professional class. Because they smart, they got education, they got some resources and money, but they still scared and intimidated, and they full of fear if you threaten their career. Which means they're not free. They're not free. They're not willing to tell the truth about what's going on. They're not willing to take a risk. They're not willing to cut against the grain. They are controlled by the protocol of their profession, so they can go up, but they're not lifting as they climb, in the language of Dorothy Irene Hyde. Now, what does that mean? That means then that somehow we've got to create a context in which more of the Black middle class can spiritually and morally come home and be freed up to come to terms with the hell and high water that our precious Black poor folk are dealing with. Anytime you get people who are poor, with weak families and feeble communities, with access to guns and drugs, you're going to have high killings. But keep in mind that is gangster. Killing innocent people, that's gangster. I don't care what color you are. But that gangsterization is just the mirror of the larger gangsterization taking place in the society. When you got all this money taken away from poor and working people for the well-to-do, when you got the criminality on Wall Street and nobody goes to jail, when you got scandals shot through your political class, but hardly any are accountable, that's gangster. It really is. So it's a mirror, but it's raw and it's coarse with the guns and the drugs being available. We know how to deal with inner city problems. Eliminate poverty, high quality education, high quality schools, make sure that the communities are safe, and then hope that the families can somehow muster some falling in love in order to take care of their kids in the way in which they are. But many would if they had some economic resources to do so. So it's a question of priorities.
Mr. Shabazz, 1 second. Before you get started, I just wanted to reiterate the question because you answered the latter part, but the first part is the media coverage and propaganda.
Oh, yeah, I did miss that. But I know he's going to hit it, though. I knew he was going to hit it.
So you give
he's going to hit it for me.
Mr. Shabazz, 3 minutes.
It's hard for me to agree with Mr. Trump on hardly anything. But one thing I do have to say that one small thing I do agree with him on. When he talked about fake news. And I almost identified with what he said one time when he just he really punch CNN at the news conference. I kind of like that. Because these news media is not our friend either. And the press has not been fair with us. The press does not report accurately what's going on in the black community. The liberal press has an angle, and that liberal press angle, brother, is your enemy and mine, and always has been. So I want to say, yes, the press does lie. The press does spin. The press tries to make it the way they want it to be. But I do want to say that violence is a problem. I want to say that Mr. Trump says he lied. He said the murder rate is worse than in 47 years. When it was lied, and as according to the fact check, Trump lies 70% of the time he opens up his mouth. He's a liar. Trump is a what? If you believe Trump lies on a regular and consistent basis, raise your hand. High in here. Okay, so he said that the murder rate is higher than in 47 years. But the fact is that 8.5 persons per 100,000 were being murdered in the year 1990, and that was down to 4.5 persons per 100,000 in 2013 to 14. Everybody knows in the District of Columbia, although the murder rate is unacceptable, it's way down. It's unacceptable, but it's way down. But Trump has his reason for hyping it, and he knows how to use Twitter and hype it in the media because he has an ulterior motive to bring the National Guard and the feds into Chicago so he can show up Obama. All right? Now, here's the solution to this. We know that even if it's being manipulated, that the violence is a problem that belongs to us. That the problem of violence belongs to us and black women. I'm here to tell you in specific that the problem with violence amongst the youth in our community, it rests at the foot of the black man. And until this black man and that black man and that black man and that black man and all of us put our minds together, that we will go out here and take control of our communities and control of the youth that are terrorizing our community, then we are going to continue to be a victim of this process. So my call here tonight is to the black man. Under Donald Trump, where's the man that the black woman can rely on? Where's the man to take control of our babies? Where's the man? That's what I want to know.
Time, Mr. Shabazz.
Where's the man?
Thank you for taking us to church on that last one. Just as a follow-up to this, we tackled the black on black crime narrative, and I want to turn attention a little bit to the police brutality aspect. According to the Huffington Post, last year, police officers killed at least 250 black people. 34% were black males, yet only made up 6% of the entire population. We've seen the video of the sister being punched in the face by the cop who was straddled on top of her in California. A child being swung around and handcuffed at a swimming pool party in Texas. As of September of 2016, New Yorkers were stopped by the cops 10,171 times. 76% of the time they were innocent. 54% of the time it was a black man or woman. Dr. West, is this a human rights issue? And how likely is the United Nations to sanction America? You both have 3 minutes.
June 27th, 1964, letter to Martin Luther King Jr. asking him to join him to go to the United Nations to hold the United States accountable for violating the human rights of black people. Martin Luther King Jr. said, yes, I'd love to go with you, Malcolm. It's been a very different history. They had a chance to work together precisely on this issue. They agreed. And this is a few months after Brother Malcolm had left, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, of course, willing to come together. There's no doubt it's a violation of human rights. But it ought to be a question of national security and therefore high priority in this country. But it remains a marginal issue. And only when we hit the streets, the corporate press come running. We've been in the streets together on many occasions, both in Cleveland and Ferguson and other places. Yes, sir. Some Some of us went to jail for stop and frisk. Under Mayor Bloomberg, you had 4.5 million young folk who were stopped and frisked within 9. Carl Dix, Revolutionary Communist Party, and other folk came together. We all went to jail actually for that. The same principle, the violation of human rights. Absolutely, and thank God for the progressive lawyers like yourself and others highlighting this kind of issue. The question becomes, how do you keep the police accountable, and how do you shatter the culture of silence within the police departments that don't allow them to tell the truth about what some of their fellow policemen are doing and have done? And that's why it's so very difficult to get a policeman to actually go to jail. They come up with all these investigations. We don't need no more investigations. We know we come back after 9 months, 1,000 pages. The police department is racist. You don't say. We were born at night, but not last night. We want police to have a fair trial and go to jail. And once you start sending them to jail, they get a shift in their culture and their behavior. Because when you're killing that many folk, and of course this is true across the board of citizens, as you know, what is it, about 1,000 citizens across the board? Absolutely. But that culture can be shattered, but it rarely happens. And that's why, what is the fraternal, what's the name of the police? And what is it?
Fraternal Order of Police.
The Fraternal Order of Police and others,
You have 30
always organizing, tight, bringing pressure to bear. So these kind of issues do not surface with power.
Thank you, Dr. West.
Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Shabazz, 3 minutes.
To those who are listening, we can expect in this coming year or years under Mr. Trump, we can expect all our war with the police departments of America. We should expect and can expect all our war. We can expect an increase in police killings, an increase in police beatings. We can expect to see more videos going viral than ever before because Trump is the policeman. He has campaigned on law and order. He's talking to you, black man. He's talking to you, Black Lives Matter. So Trump has the mentality to police by force and has them thrown out by force, and his followers to rally. He's sending a signal to those who are following him. It's okay to go at these Negroes, and that he will back them. Down here in South Carolina, they're rumoring that they wanted the charges dropped against the cop who shot and killed Walter Scott Slager, that the Justice Department was considering not re-prosecuting him after we knew he should have been found guilty. Hell, we can't find courts that will find police officers guilty. Rarely, if ever, do they go to jail, but they're killing all the time. We can expect it to get worse. More beatings, more excessive force. It's already right now a shaky situation. Attorneys will know. In the federal court system, the judges are sometimes friendly depending on the jurisdiction, or the judges are hostile to claims against the police. The law is already shaped against us. You have rules called qualified immunity, rules called objective reasonableness that give all the advantages to the police officer in an encounter with what is perceived to be an inherently dangerous black man or suspect. So right now, I can't give you a fancy prescription. I have to tell it like it is. I'm expecting more beatings, more killings, more shootings by the police. I'm expecting a harder time in court, but I'm here to tell you that we got to fight regardless. The lawyers have to fight.
30 seconds.
The lawyers have to fight with all we got. The new Black Panther Party, the Black Panthers, all of these black militants running around. We need an army to defend ourselves. We need the new Black Panther Party in the streets. We need police patrols like Huey P. Newton had police patrols in the streets of America. We need the Nation of Islam in the streets of America to help us to deal with police brutality. I'm here to tell you that we get into it further. We need a total war strategy because war is going to be declared on us. Straight up.
So thank you both. That concludes the first half of our program. If we can advise the audience to...
I wouldn't break. Just keep it rocking.
Yeah, just keep it
flowing. Rock that thing. Keep it going.
So, all right.
Sorry about that. I have to take over sometime.
Okay, at this time, we're going to have two selections for the audience. That is going to be the national anthem presented, which we need to hear. Brother Shabazz, which will be presented by Crystal Collins.
Good to see you. Testing. There you go. Yes, sir.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. They sing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Oh, that's wonderful. Wonderful.
It's that halftime anthem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you ready? Okay. All right. Okay. For the second half, we're going to talk about women and the role of women in the Black community. We're going to start off with that. Wait a second. I have one question. Yes. Okay. Pardon me. Dr. West, this is for you.
Yes.
You have advocated against all forms of misogyny. Misogyny is the contempt or hatred of women, and patriarchy, a system in which men hold primary power and dominate leadership. In many African systems, both before and after European and Arab invasion, there was a high respect for the woman, and women held positions of leadership, including in the military. My question is, do you believe, under the doctrines of Christianity and Islam, it is truly possible to rid society of misogyny and patriarchy when many of our people refer and view their deity and higher power in the masculine term as a he? Why or why not?
Wow. Yes. Good question. Oh, I'm telling you. Yeah, I think God as spirit. That connects to a love that transforms us so that we learn how to die in order to learn how to live. And part of the charge in the New Testament, the Koine Greek, Christians must learn how to die daily. And what it means to die daily in order to be reborn is to have that love so thoroughly saturating who you are that any hatred of women, of others, and I would include my gay brothers, my lesbian sisters, any hatred of a person needs to be killed in order to empower us to become more loving, more compassionate, more empathetic. So that misogyny, hatred of women, a species of spiritual cowardice. Patriarchy, like any other dominating system, to be really human is to have security from domination. It could be capitalist domination, it could be patriarchal domination, it could be white supremacist domination, it could be homophobic domination, it can be all these different, to be a free, loving human being to be able to flower and flourish. And there's no doubt, of course, that women are the vast majority of humankind, of the species itself. And there's no doubt that the Black freedom struggle is unintelligible without the Ida B. Wellses and the Harriet Tubmans and the Toni Morrison and the Sarah Vaughns.
Thank you.
Women freedom fighters, love warriors. But we got a long way to go because we brothers sometimes have such insecure egos.
Thank you, Dr. West.
We can't take the challenge.
Dr. Shabazz, you have 3 minutes to answer that question.
All right, and I do want to say that on my list here, high, for my record, that the building of a mass movement is on my list. I want to get to it tonight. The building of a mass movement and the building of an independent political party for our people is on my list tonight. I want to be sure when the critics of this debate come out, and that you know that that's on my list of what I want to talk about. I'm a political organizer. Now, on the question of the misogyny, the deity, and the reality of the relations between our people, our women. There's no man here, anywhere in this room, that can't say at some point in time they have engaged in some form of misogyny or some form of inappropriateness of our women. We must admit that, we must confess that, and we must apologize for that. All right? That's real. We'll accept that apology on our behalf. Now, I want to say this. You know, African spirituality, you will not be stuck on just a God that is described as he. Because we know that in the truest of African spirituality, which predates both the Bible and the Quran, that we have the duality. We have the duality of the God and the goddess. And we have the expression of divinity, which has the woman in her proper place, because without the woman, it ain't no creation. There is no reality without the Black woman who is divine. So we are taught early on about Mayat, about the goddess Mayat, who teaches us the values, the virtues of the principles that all life should be based on, and also Mayat, which means truth, justice, harmony, balance, order, righteousness, and reciprocity, but is represented by a Black woman on the hieroglyphics of the Medu-Neter of the walls of the pyramid of Kemet from the beginning. Before there was a Bible, an Old Testament, a New Testament, before there was a Holy Quran, there was African spirituality that held the woman in held the woman in high regard as a goddess and as a symbol of the very principles that we live life upon. So only in Western religion, Western life, Western reality have we become supremacists. But I want to say this in my few seconds. The reason why I know the value of a black woman is not just from Africa, not just from a theory. The reason why I know that the black woman is capable of leading is I can point to my mother. See? Shabazz, and don't you cut me off up here, because I'm going to go over. My mother has taught me how strong, capable, competent, and awesome of a leader a person can be. That's come from my mother. And I work with other black women. I work with them in the field of human services. I work with them in the law office. I could run them for days and days. The black woman is marginalized. She should be given more props for what she is doing for us right now. I'm surrounded. Every day, this is real talk. I'm surrounded by black women that are capable and competent every day. I'm trying to get the black man to catch up. That's all right. That's real talk. I'm trying to catch up myself. Yes, sir. Praise God.
Thank you, Dr. Shabazz.
Thank you, sister, for your question. You're one of them women, Sister Hassan.
Yes,
You're
sir.
one of them.
Yes, sir. Here you go.
Okay. Gentlemen, yes, regarding, we often hear so many times by those on the right, Bill O'Reilly in particular, who oftentimes mention, quote, a breakdown of the black family. Brother West, oh, I didn't say this. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Dr. West, you just finished speaking about your love and your support for the LGBT community.
Yeah.
For quite some time, there have been many theorists within the black community who feel that a, quote, gay agenda is being pushed on the black community as a way of destabilizing our families, cutting back our population. I didn't say this. I'm a journalist. I speak to people who say this, across the country. I interviewed several people.
No,
What I'm asking you, I'm sorry, I'm just letting you know this is not me. Don't attack me after this. How do you feel? I'm going to ask both of you, but I want Dr. West to begin answering first. How do you feel about, quote, alternative families? Do you feel that black families should be headed by a male and a female? Or are you in support of alternative families, say two husbands, two wives?
Yeah, you ain't lying. We on the spot. Head for the door. But first, we've got to look at got to look at 244 years where we had alternative families because the mothers and fathers were sold in different directions, and the loved ones had to come in to help and shape the young kids before they were sold, and so forth and so on. So that the crucial thing about a family is the love and the shaping and the molding and the care and the targeting and the attention. So you can have a traditional family that doesn't have the care, attention, and love, and it's just family in the abstract. It's not love on the ground. Now, in the present day context, where you got lesbians, gays, bisexuals, transgender folk, all of them made in the image of God. All of them worthy of love. All of them worthy of love. You might disagree with their behavior, but they're worthy of love. Now the question becomes, how do you deal with the claim that somehow it's an agenda coming from the outside? And see, this is fascinating, because if we were to ask James Baldwin or Audre Lorde whether it was something that came from the outside, they would say no. It goes all the way back. There has always been gay brothers and lesbian sisters. When I was 4 years old and I saw that brother playing the organ, and he was indispensable and integral to our church, and everybody knew he was gay. But that's right. And it's not just the organ
I'm just starting with the organ player. Now, the thing is, it's hard to have a larger theological discourse about, well, the Old Testament says this, and Paul said that. But Paul said slaves be obedient to your master.
No, he didn't.
We had an abolitionist book that came out of the Bible.
Be quiet, Carl.
What did Jesus say? Not a mumbling word. See, I'm a Jesus-centered Christian. Paul's letters are subordinate to the Jesus who lived, exemplifying that love, you see. And so for me, the fundamental cause of the disintegration of the black family, 1 minute, is the levels of unemployment and underemployment and the inability of us to be able to sustain our families with a self-love and self-respect of each other. Those two. And there are alternative families, gays and lesbians, that have high quality love. There are some that don't. There are traditional families that do. There are traditional families that don't. And so these are the kind of issues. These are tough ones now.
30 seconds.
These are tough. These are delicate ones, you see. No, so that the answer of the question is the unemployment, underemployment, the fundamental ways in which we've been unable to sustain the loves in our traditional families, and the escalation of the black voices of gays and lesbians within the black community. It's not something imposed from the outside. It's something that flows from the black community itself.
Turn to Shabazz.
Well, I guess I can't duck out of this one.
No, it put us on the spot.
So you may agree with me, you may disagree with me, but I have to stand on what I believe and what I practice. Now, I want to say that I do agree with Dr. West on the narrow point that we may disagree with your lifestyle, but we disagree with love. Because I want to say that every black man and woman on the face of the planet Earth is worthy of love and redemption.
That's right.
Now, let me state why I state what I say. I feel that the black community and the black family in specific, that we are in a state of war. We are in a state of warfare, and that we have lost a percentage of our soldiers, which is our men. We have lost a great percentage of our men on the battlefield. We've lost them to the prison. We've lost them to many ways. The black man is now underpopulated. The black woman needs the black man. I can't lie to you and say that there are more eligible heterosexual men that are needed for single black women who want and need a man. Am I right, or am I in another universe? Okay, so that being stated, for me, I'm a military man with a military mind. I'm thinking about how many soldiers we got on the battlefield and how we don't want to lose the sisters to any other side. There's many other sides too, including the backside. Hello? I have to be honest with you. I want every black man at service for the black woman, and when I see another black man put himself in service for another black man, I'm thinking, man, the numbers for the war to redeem the black family, we losing the war. That's way I look at it now. This is all out of love now.
1 minute.
It's out of love now. So that's my perspective. I gotta be just very honest. I'm old school. I'm Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. But I want to tell you something about me personally. I have mentored and mentor a man, and I serve not a man, but several men.
30 seconds.
And I helped them in their lives, and they are 100% gay. I have helped a man, I've helped them get through education, I mentor them, I wouldn't discriminate against them or harm them for anything in my life. I may disagree with them, Give me a minute, man. Y'all chill. This is important. Chill on all these buzzers and timers for a minute. I do disagree, and I discuss my disagreements.
Time.
But however, they will come here today. All right, I got you. Chill. It's important. It's part of the black family. This is something that's eating away at us. Give us another minute, man. Time.
Yes, but I'm only going by the time constraints you gave us, sir.
Chill. I set the rules. I'm changing them. The rules I'm changing them, man. Because I'm just saying, man, some of these questions is important. I mean, we cool on the time, the debate, but now you got to, when you ask a question like that, you got to allow, because there's people in the room that are dependent on the right answer. So yeah, I have my position and my disagreements with it, but it's a disagreement even out of love. And I can show you individuals that were coming here today. I mean, black men, stone cold, gay, switching all the way. And they would come in here and tell you that that man, Mr. Shabazz, fed me when I did not have food. He housed me when I didn't have housing. He took care of me. And I would be remiss to tell you if I don't be trying to get them back in the army. Back in the army, because I love you, the black woman, and the black family, most of all. So just a different perspective. I understand what you're saying about others that have come up in our community. They stay in it and happen to be gay. I cannot deny that. That is a historical fact.
You acknowledge that James Baldwin stayed in the army. Right? He didn't leave the army because he was a gay brother. He stayed right there in the army.
Okay, well, I understand. Allow us this moment. Allow us this moment. I'm not saying that he couldn't shoot a gun, that he wasn't an effective. I'm not saying because of his sexual orientation he wasn't an effective fighter. There's people that gay to whip the hell out of you. All right? That's right. But when I'm talking about a soldier, I mean a soldier here for the black woman and for the war for the black nation. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. That's what I mean. All right, so I'm sorry about that. But that is my answer, and that's how I live my life.
So was that the 1 minute? Hold on, was that the 1 minute rebuttal?
Let's get some questions from the audience too, as soon as we can. Let's rock some audience.
All right. So, okay.
Yeah, we got to get some questions from the audience. They here. They need to
That's
know.
fine. Okay.
Yes.
Peace, family.
Got a lady here. Others.
I am Brother Reggie again. I am representing Black News 102 again. In about 2 days, you will see about.
Where the man?
Right here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bro.
Peace. How you doing? Only us got the mic. In about 2 days, we can guarantee about 20 to 30,000 black youth that's going to watch Black News 102 and watch this channel. That's why we're here. Now, one thing that we have to give these young black men and women who are in these streets, in these projects, they have to have a plan. We are the only people who go to war without a plan. All that other stuff that we're talking about, the gender stuff, we respect. It's all right. But you can put it in a plan. We are at war under Donald Trump. And he is going to take black lives. So can we prioritize what we're going to say and put it in a plan? We have written the Black City Plan. It's what you call open source. You can look at it, you can change it, you can add to it. But you got to give our people a plan. So, Dr. Cornel West, can you give us some idea of what needs to go in a black plan for our people? Or a plan for our people. I know how you include other people, but you owe the black youth who are dying some aspects of a plan, and then we go to the attorney Zulu, Malik Zulu Shabazz.
Great question.
To clean it up.
Once again, great question.
Yeah, I appreciate the passion and the spirit behind that question. No, I resonate with it. You see, I don't think there's just one plan for everybody. I don't think there's one plan for the whole black community. The black community has a number of different dimensions to it. We talk of the black community as if it's just a monolithic community. It's not. It's not. What all the times I spend with black folk, especially the youth, teaching in prisons and high schools and so forth, I try to tell them that they come from a great people, so they should love themselves and respect themselves and find their voice and be organized based on their choices. And there's a number of organizations in the black community that generate different kind of plans. Some will join New Black Panthers, others will join NAACP, others will join Urban League, others will join Democratic Socialists, so forth and so on. There has always been, there will always be a variety of voices in the black community. And there will never be black unanimity on one plan. If we wait for that, we wait forever. What we need to do is have all of the different voices and plans come together in an alliance and a coalition in dialogue with each other and seeing where we overlap in order to hit the major issues that affect us, which are what? We need to eliminate poverty. We need to gain access to quality education, jobs with a living wage, control over our communities, especially with the police. And then we need to create some kind of larger effort to democratize the capitalist civilization. What I mean for that is redistribution of wealth downward. Now that's not just one plan, that's a variety of different organizations working together. Because if you act as if just one plan with one leader, never reach that point. Never reach that point. Now, did I misconstrue your question, my brother? I hope I didn't. No, you answered it. Yes. Speaking to the thing. Oh, your microphone.
You answered the question.
Yes.
We have been doing that, doing the similar things since Plymouth Rock landed on us.
Yeah, that's right. So, but the thing is, though, brother, the only reason why you and I are here in our right mind is because folk follow particular plans by finding their voices and pass on the love they had to us. It's just that we have been unable to win black freedom in a white supremacist civilization up till now. And that's true. We're not victorious. Now, some folk maybe thought it was with a black president. You found out that wasn't the case, right? We have not been victorious in black liberation that affects every black person that begins with the least of these. Now that's Garvey's point. Garvey's point was what? As long as black people are in America, the masses of black people will live lives of ruin and disaster because the major problem facing black people is disorganization. That's part of his genius, that he looked at black people from the lens of the masses, not the middle classes, and he understood we had to have massive organization. That's why Stokely would always talk about, you can't talk about black freedom unless you're organized in some way. But nobody's going to join. There's never going to be everybody joining one organization. There's going to be a variety of different organizations. But the question is, can we work together? So that's my attempt to answer that question. I know that we need so much more time to wrestle.
Good answer. Good context here. This is, first of all, man, I can't believe that I'm up here debating Dr. Cornel West. I can't even believe that we're on stage like this.
I'm the one blessed. I'm the one blessed, my brother.
Seriously, we are all blessed tonight. Now let's get into it. Now let me counter argue for a minute. I say, well, but it's not a contentious debate. It's a debate for the minds and hearts and the freedom and liberation of our people.
That's right.
And we want to come to the audience next. Y'all hold tight here because this is critical here because we will be accused of engaging in just an intellectual discourse here when it's actually much more than that. Okay, I want to say that I'm a professional organizer. I'm an attorney, all of these things that they said about me, but this man knows, and others here who know me, others who are sitting here in the audience from the Black Power movement, you know that my heart, my mind, my spirit, and my soul is as an organizer. and I'm always struggling and striving for a plan. Even if all our plans haven't worked out, I feel duty bound. I feel obligated to come here and propose a plan. Now, I'm pushing, I'm promoting, I'm advocating for the building of a mass movement for self-determination for our people. We need a mass movement. And we need a mass political party that represents our interests. Even though, Dr. West, we're not monolithic. Part of the reason what I'm doing here tonight and why we call for this and why I'm here with Dr. West tonight is not to debate each other so we can try to look big in front of anybody else. I'm here with Dr. West because he represents the civil rights and the Christian community, and I believe that me coming from the Black Power community and a Muslim background, that we got to show each other that it's time to end the divisions and embrace each other. See what I mean? Here, there are people in the movement in what they call the progressive movement, the movement you see out there against police brutality in the streets and others. They follow him. When he went to Ferguson with Occupy and so forth, all of those groups, man has a following. Okay, and so what am I doing? I'm trying to build this Black United Front. I'm here. I got the new Black Panther Party here, and the chairman Hashim Nzinga. And also, they know that there are many out there that say that they are Black Panthers throughout America. I'm working all the while to end the divisions and disputes and to bring the Black Panthers all together, so they're not split and divided. We have to have a mass movement, and that movement must be reflective and respectful of all the different players and those that are willing to organize. Okay, and this mass movement can do a lot. I'm talking about for self-determination. Because those who say, well, Donald Trump is a good thing. You know, it's a good thing, Trump here. That's going to wake us up. That's going to wake us up. Now, that's rhetoric. It's rhetoric to me unless a schemata, a plan is developed that will take us. Now, if I had my perfect world in terms of organizing, I would line up the Black church, all of the Black church, or the most progressive elements of the Black church. I would line them up with the Nation of Islam. I would line them up with what they call the Orthodox Muslim community, the progressives amongst them. I would line them up with the Black nationalists. I would line them up, where's NBUF at? My young brothers and sisters from the National Black United Front. They're here. National Black United Front. Quickly, don't cut me off. You're from a Black organization, raise your hand high. Tell me who you are. What's your group? What's your group, Queen? What's your organization, sister? Nation of Israel. Just hold right there. That's hold right there. Nation of Israel. What we talking about, the Israelites and those. We want to, this is an outreach to you. This is a direct outreach from you right now. We're trying to build this movement, and you're an important part of it. What's your organization? Quickly, brother. Queen. Black Reparations Now. This is something on my list. Something on my list that we'll talk about later. They talk about having a meeting with Donald Trump. I'll tell them specifically what we want in that meeting. We want land. I'll get into that later. Ain't nobody from the smart moderators asked that yet. Yes, sir. From these super smart moderators. Oh, 1 second. What I'm trying to say is that, in a word, we need a mass movement for self-determination, and that helps us do for ourselves. And this movement would do what? It would focus on education. It would resist the attacks on education that's coming down from the new Secretary of Education. It would resist and fight those attacks. But also this movement, this mass movement, would also focus on self-education and building our own schools, even charter schools. Uh-oh, challenge me on it. Economics. This economic movement would focus on pooling our dollars, pooling our resources, financial education, and economic cooperation amongst us. That's where a movement amongst all the organizations and the leaders can get together and provide an economic plan for our people, as well as use the weapon of blackouts and boycotts. We have failed to use the fist, our economic fist and our spending power to bring it down on Trump's head. All right, hold 1 second. Hold with the bucket. Hold with the bucket. All right, hold 1 second. It ain't time. We'll be time in a minute. It ain't time right now. We're talking about something critical here. At the crux of what we're doing here. He had 5. Now you give me a minute. Don't be jumping in. Hold 1 second. What I'm trying to tell you, my family, is that we're working right now on building a mass movement for self-determination. What I'm doing here with my beloved brother and elder is called outreach. I'm going different in areas and other ways around the country, trying to reach out with the olive branch to our sisters and brothers who are like the dry bones that are scattered in the valley, and the whipping winds of Trump is whipping on these bones, and they got to stand up. But they can't stand up unless somebody's out here working amongst them and ending the differences and bring them together. So what I want to say, a mass movement that is focused on education, a mass movement for self-determination or Black Power, which is focused on economics, a mass movement which has as a part of it manhood development, strengthening and standing up the Black man and the Black woman, a mass movement, sir, that doesn't leave your plan on the table. See, I meet activists like you everywhere, all around the country. Activists here, activists there, activists there, activists there. Who is it that's weaving and bringing them all together to give their plans life? Huh? What I'm saying is it may be others out there doing it or trying to do it, but I'm going to tell you, I volunteer. I volunteer to give all I got to build a mass movement for self-determination, and I'm not afraid to give my number and information out to any other organizer out there to say that we need to come together right now and to give common expression to what we're doing. What one God, one aim, one destiny. A mass movement for self-determination includes defense. We must have a ministry of defense where we can defend ourselves and use the Second Amendment, and we must have arms. Are you listening to me? We must have arms. We must have a mass movement for self-determination and undeniable, unquenching quest to stop the violence in our community. Even if it's being misconstrued, the violence has to be ended, it has to be stopped. Otherwise, Trump and others are continuing to look down on us. Every time that we're killing and shooting ourselves, and we looked at the video the other day that a 2-year-old baby from Chicago shot in the back seat of the car. It happens over and over again, and we got to stop denying reality. A mass movement, meaning that not just the revolutionary organization, Nation of Islam. What about the nonprofits? What about the youth worker? What about the social workers? Have you forgot about them, the ones that's mentoring and counseling and giving services? Brothers and sisters, we got a lot of work to do. And I'm here to tell you, brother, that don't give up on your city plan. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to any other organizer and talk about building a mass movement for self-determination as a basis for a mass political party. We need our own political party because both parties have let us down. Check. I got you. All right. You go out there. I'm going to announce it in a minute. They want me to do something else real quick. They pressing me on it, and I'm always shy on doing it. But they want me to allow them to pass the bucket. And all we want to say is it's going to take but a second on this. Just while it's going around, if you can put in some $1 million bills in there, some $1,000 bills in there. You know, this place is, you know, they're not letting no, if you're going to let us in here, you're going to pay to get up in here and everything else. Regardless to it, help us out. If you want to make a check, make it out to Black Lawyers for Justice. And, boy, I got an army over here. We done recruited an army. Y'all help us out. Put something in, some green in that machine, because we're gonna fight for you. Okay, look. Let me try to turn it back over to the moderators. I know they mad at me now.
Yes, sir. We just have an announcement for everybody. We want to use hashtag debate of the decade for all your pictures and all your social media. Debate of the decade. All right.
Thank y'all so much. Thank you for helping. It helps keep the movement going. Let's go to the audience. Who's over there?
Okay, just a couple of announcements. If you have not signed up for and given your name and email address for the Black Power Movement, please make sure you see our table before you leave for the night, making sure you provide your email address as well as other pertinent information to support the Black Power Movement. It is every Tuesday on 733 Euclid Street, across the street from Howard University. This movement is moving forward. Please make sure you provide your email address so you will be able to be emailed a flyer and additional information.
Again, listen to that. Please sign in at the table in the front so that you can be on our information list so that you can know more about the local movement for Black Power. What I said in my answer was not just a theory, it's something that we practice every week. Where all of these issues I just named, we are organizing and trying our best to work out, and we're growing. 733 Euclid Street, Northwest DC, every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock is where a coalition of leaders, attorneys, activists, a whole group of people are fighting the issues of gentrification, education, violence, and everything I just named. Let's go to the audience. Ma'am, you had a question. I want to take your, you're inspired to take your question. Well, come on.
All right.
At
this point, we're going to open the panel up for questioning. We have a couple of key people that will be in line for questioning. I will call your numbers. Everybody has been given out tokens in regards to the line of questioning. The first question we're going to ask for tonight is going to be John Cheeks. We need John Cheeks to come with the first line of questioning for tonight.
Cheeks already spoke.
If you already spoken, we're going to take this lady here in regards to a question.
Well, my name is Sylvia Pereira, and my question is basically it's most request, because we've been talking about resistance, and I would like to know your comments, or if you're planning to do some 200 people that were arrested the day of the inauguration and who are being charged by the U.S. Attorney's Office with felony charges, just for participating in the demonstration against Donald Trump.
Let me get this question clear. You say you're being charged with felony charges?
No, not me, but there are 200 people.
Which felony are you being charged with?
200 people who demonstrated. I don't know if everybody knows about this, but when they demonstrated on the day of the inauguration, 200 people were arrested, and they are being charged with rioting, which is a felony. And this is well known. Among them there were 4 journalists. So I don't know if you were aware of that.
Let me give you something quick. Unless you got something on that, I say, here's an email. Take my email, and I'd like you to contact me. And then between either the lawyers we have or lawyers that we connected to, we try to make sure you get a fair resolution to your problem. My email is attorney.shabazz@yahoo.com. attorney.shabazz@yahoo.com. I want to know more about what you're saying. I want to know more about the charges. I want to know what happened in the circumstances in which felonies were charged. I will be happy to look into it for it. What's your name?
My name is Sylvia Pereira.
Sylvia Pereira. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Okay. attorney.shabazz@yahoo.com. I'll answer you. That's for any other question.
No, but that's one.
Question 30.
Solidarity with the brothers and sisters who are.
Yeah, just quickly, my name is Atty Lumumba. I've come all the way from Melbourne, Australia. It's over 20 hours of flying to get here for this debate. Wow. And just quickly, thank you to Brother Sarnetta for making me aware of this. My question, even though I live in Australia, my roots are in the Kingdom of Congo. And so the question I have for you, both of you here, is why is it that the strategical significance of the Democratic Republic of Congo or that landmass is underrepresented or understated?
Oh, you were absolutely right, though, brother. I mean, we didn't get a chance to talk too much even about Africa. We mentioned a little bit AFRICOM and the military expansion. But you're right, though, that we didn't get a chance to talk about Congo. We didn't get a chance to talk about a number of the very crucial countries on the continent of Africa. There's no doubt the 21st century is going to be one in which the struggle for Africa, China on the one hand, other countries, including the USA, in on that struggle. How do we connect with self-determination struggles among Africans themselves, vis-a-vis the Chinese coming in, vis-a-vis the United States coming in, military as well as economic forms. So in that sense, brother, I'm so glad you raised the issue so that we get a chance to at least acknowledge it. But you're absolutely right. We didn't get a chance to explore it the way in which we should. But it's so good to have you all the way here from Australia.
Let me say something to you. First of all, appreciate you, brother, taking the time to travel. I want to meet you.
Absolutely.
And I want to just say in a word, I went to South Africa last year, which is called Azania. And I've been to South Africa and Zimbabwe a couple of years before then. I was working with some of the veterans in the Pan-African Congress of Azania, the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania. I also went over there and I met with many of the representatives of a young man I greatly admire. His name is Julius Malema of the Economic Freedom Fighters. Okay, so what I'm saying is through our mission to Africa and what we have pledged to do and promised to do, we are currently working on building a worldwide Pan-African movement. Earlier I said I believe that the real power here is beyond being a minority. It's a power in connecting with all of our African brothers and sisters in the diaspora. I don't want you to think that's foreign or go over above your head. We have real connections in Africa and real connections across the planet. So brother, at the end, I would like to speak with you and go into that with you, because I believe if you're that dedicated to travel all the way from Australia, that you are a dedicated freedom fighter. And we're calling for all of the freedom fighters around the planet that believe in what we're teaching, which is Black power, at least what I'm teaching. Then we want you to consider joining in with us so we can fight on a common front. All right? Wonderful. Wonderful.
Question 31 from the NBUF.
Everybody's free to, I mean, we can pass it around too. We don't want to force everybody to walk. Because I want everybody who's here, regardless to race, to have a chance to ask questions. Because I do have something I want to say to the progressive members of what they call the white left. I want to say something specifically to y'all before this is out. That's okay. Sir? Let's this man jump in real quick. Can I? You mind? And then you come to you, brother. Come on, sir. What is your question? Mass movement. Yes, sir.
Means basically, in terms of what's happening now, taking direct action, especially now, not tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Because the White House right now is in such disarray, is in such disorganized way that is more easy now than tomorrow to organize the action against those who are having the power now. My only concern is not to restringe this movement to a color. Needs to be multicolored in order to succeed. What do you think about that?
And that word die, you put a lot of emphasis on that thing, but I didn't hear that word die. Die what? Diverse?
Direct action.
Oh no, the other word. Oh, multicultural, multiracial, multicultural.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Is that for me first or him? Dr. West, pardon.
Please, Dr. West. And then
No, but I'm gonna give my brother my time because I think you're right, but it has to be done in a certain kind of way. Though. But you go right ahead. It's got to be multiracial.
Let me let the expert on that go first, and I'll come after him.
Yeah, I think it's definitely got to be multiracial, but it can't be viewed as if a race is just one issue among other issues. In this nation, white supremacy was the very foundation upon which capitalism was based. And therefore, there has to be a centrality of the vicious legacy of white supremacy as you have a multiracial movement. So, so I'm agreeing with you, done a certain kind of way.
I guess that's under black position, man. I'm gonna be on the spot with this question. What is your name, sir?
my name is Rodolfo. I'm from Peru.
From
and
Peru.
I'm coming from a real personal experience.
My pleasure.
In terms of
thank you so much.
doing action.
All right. Here's a real multicultural vision. I want to say assignment, but I'm going to say vision because they'll say I'm trying to give out orders. Now check this out. The White House is in confusion. Donald Trump is off to a rough start, a rough ride. There's a lot of infighting. And there are people within the Congress, Republicans, and governors. There are many who are uncomfortable with his presence in the presidency. Even though they're in the Republican Party and they're going on for the ride, they wish Trump would be out because Trump is an embarrassment. I mean, he is an embarrassment in many instances. He's a nightmare. All right. Now, let's look at his mentality. The psychologists have observed Mr. Trump. I read a letter where 37 psychologists declared him to be mentally unfit for the office. He has an incapability of accepting wrong, an incapability of self-reflection. He blames everything on everyone else, and he carries out certain behavioral characteristics in his behaviors. Well, access to narcissism, however you want to name it. The bottom line to it is that the people are angry at Trump, and the way he goes about his business, they are going to be even more angry with him. Now, can I hearken your memory back to 1991? 1991 in Eastern Europe, you thought that communism would never fall, right? Communism in Eastern Europe, in East Germany, and Hungary, and Poland, and so forth, was backed by Moscow, and it was backed by the finance and the tanks from Moscow. Is that right? It was backed by military force. It was a one-party system, and you thought that it would never be broken. I mean, it was long after the beginning of the Cold War, communism stood strong, and if you couldn't defeat the tank, you couldn't defeat communism. Is that right? Yet communism fell. I'm not going to get over you communists. I'm not attacking the communists. I'm giving an example. I'm showing you how the people rose up in mass numbers, and they surrounded the presidential palaces in communist Eastern Europe, and they took the government out of power. They took the presidents out of power by surrounding their palaces and their centers of power. Are you listening to me? Buckle your seatbelts for a minute. If your seat get too hot, raise up and fan it a little bit and sit back down. This is some real revolutionary talk. I'm about to talk to you up here, but it's all unclassified. It ain't classified. But I want you to take that as an example, to think that no matter how strong something look, it can fall with the will of the people. It can fall with the will of the people.
That's right.
Now, in this specific instance, I'm talking to black, brown, yellow, red, and I'm talking to white. I'm talking to the white left. I'm talking to Occupy. I'm talking to all of you white radicals out here, right? You want a mission? Let's look at 2011. Mubarak. Mubarak was a dictator over Egypt. The people amassed in what they called Tahrir Square, and they wouldn't leave. They massed on Tahrir Square in what they called the beginning of the Arab Spring, and they would not leave, and they surrounded the presidential palace, and within a few weeks, Mubarak was gone. I had a vision. It might have just been a dream. I don't know. I had a vision. I don't know if you had a vision. But I had a vision one night. I saw the White House surrounded. I was just a vision. I'm serious too. It was a serious vision. I saw in a vision the White House at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue surrounded by thousands. I saw Lafayette Park dominated by thousands, maybe 100,000, 200,000. I saw a vision where I saw 16th Street, 17th Street, George Washington Parkway Memorial, 14th Street Bridge. I saw it shut down in a vision, only in a vision. I saw in a vision that what happened in Tahrir Square, that what happened in East Germany, and calculating the mindset and the belligerence and the arrogance of Mr. Trump, building up the anger of the masses of the people, and I saw the people conversion on the White House. Y'all getting quiet now, huh? Damn, it's just a dream. It ain't reality, it's only a movie, right? Remember this, it's only a movie script proposal. Don't get caught up into this. NSA, FBI, Army question. It's only a proposal. I mean, not a proposal. It's only, damn. Look, you want this chump out of here? You can't have a march for one day. Million women marching. One day? Get out of town by sundown? If 200,000, 300,000, 400,000 people that's pissed at Trump, even though they got different and convergent interests, they got one enemy. If they had a mass demonstration mobilization and they wouldn't leave like they were supposed to not leave in '63, and they stayed 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, weeks, that Trump would be damn surrounded. What the hell is he gonna do? He gonna call the army out? He gonna call, well, call them. How many black soldiers is gonna clear the streets? I see y'all ain't got quiet on me now, so I'm gonna turn it back over to Dr. West. I'm trying to tell you this. You can talk about impeachment. Impeachment is important, but it's dependent on the political will of political officials. And I'm saying this ain't from Attorney Shabazz, this ain't from anybody in this room, but I'm saying if at some point a mass movement moves on that White House, this Trump will be running down 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, trying to catch his, put his shirt and tie his shirt back up, because he done left it all behind. Better clap stronger than that. You want revolution or not? Now that, Dr. West, is something where I can see white, black, red, yellow, and
that would be a multiracial coalition. And we should also note, as a rich footnote, when Brother Martin Luther King Jr. said he wanted to organize all poor people of all colors, he said, I'm coming to Washington, D.C. We're going to have a resurrection city, and we're not leaving until they pass legislation to eliminate poverty. They stayed there week after week after week, but they had already shot it. So that the resurrection city set in right after. Sister Coretta Scott King and Ralph Abernathy and many others came right after. But there's similarities in terms of the longevity of the witness. And that's a crucial point. But I know we got a long line here, though.
Can we go to the next question?
Absolutely. We got a young brother
at 1 minute. We have a long
Black
line.
United Front. Right on, my brother.
Peace. First and foremost, I'd like to thank y'all for coming out and giving us great wisdom. I would like to. My question is, being as though the house is packed tonight, respect and admiration that we have for y'all. But it also ties to a savior complex in the black community in America. Ever since Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, and before and after that, how do we take that energy and move it to work for self and become our own saviors, so that we can build, sustain, and defend our families and communities? We work day in and day out in the community. I apologize. My name is Brother Matulu. I'm with National Black United Front DC chapter, and we work day in and day out, trying to help feed the people, clothe the people, educate the children. So that was my question.
Well, salute the work you do, though, brother. Salute the work you do. I'll tell you that. And I think it's very important. We got two different frameworks. For too long, we've been tied to the Messianic framework, looking for one main leader who brings all of the goods to the people, and we follow him or her like a Pied Piper. I think that's got to go. Ella Baker had another framework. She said you have to organize, mobilize grassroots, each find their voice. And yes, there's going to be people who have different gifts, but all of those gifts have to be appreciated. And there has to be a collective leadership. The HNIC are over. The head Negro in charge, over. It's got to be collective voices, all being able to use their gifts in such a way that you get that kind of empowerment among each and every member of the organization. And when that organization is attacked, they don't have to attack just that one messianic figure, cut off the head. Because when you have the collective framework, you got all these heads going at the same time. Does that make sense to you, though, man? No, I appreciate that, though, man. But you see the Ella Baker versus Martin. We love both of them, but Ella Baker was much more jazz-like. You see, in John Coltrane's quintet, sometimes Elvin wanted to lead from the drums, and sometimes McCoy Tyner led from the piano, and sometimes Reggie Workman led from the bass. It depended on what was going on and whose song was being done. That's a very different model.
Young man,
go right ahead.
I got one simple word for you. And for all those who are faced with that question, let's cut a deal. National Black United Front, Washington, D.C., cut a deal with the Black Power movement. And cut a deal with us so we can have a common schedule, a common agenda. Ain't no need to have all these, you know what I mean? We can have different meetings in our own identity, but when we going to break bread to sit down and cut a deal? We got to cut a deal for liberation.
That's nice. That's nice.
You know what I mean?
That's good.
And I ain't too big to sit down and cut a deal with a young man like yourself. We just sit down and cut the deal. We had to cut some deals. You talking about cutting deals? He cutting deals. It's time for us to cut some deals, young man. Yes, sir.
We have another question.
All right. Yes.
Craig Muhammad.
Oh, please, Mr. Muhammad, please show the vendors some love on the way out. Buy everything you can. Buy up the whole table. Buy up the whole table to the vendors who are out there in the audience, because they will be on me about not having an intermission. So please support the vendors. Sister Queen, we got you. Just hold tight over here.
I got one question for each of you. I believe, and brother, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe I've heard I believe I've heard Dr. West say something to the effect that separation of the races in this country is a pipe dream. If that's not the right language, I would ask you to correct me. But if it is the right language, or if the context, or if the concept is accurate, and that you did say that, I would ask you to point to any historical data that would support the conclusion that peaceful integration of the people is anything more than a pipe dream. Brother Shabazz, Brother Louis Ali from the Hot Black Coffee Hot Black Coffee Party in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, sends you the greetings, and he asked me to ask you this question.
Please return the greetings to Brother Louis.
I will. How much more integration can the black community bear? That's a question.
Wow, those are two powerful questions, my brother. Definitely. I think I was talking about a crack pipe rather than a pipe dream. I'm getting old, so my memory might be too select, especially after 10 o'clock, you know. But I think people, did you hear me say crack pipe? So, and I was talking about connection with Trump and so forth. But I do think that when you talk about separation, we have to talk about what form it is. There's a sense in which we already separated. See, we live under Jim Crow Jr. Jim Crow Jr. is highly separated neighborhoods, highly separated religious institutions, separated social institutions. It's already probably separated. It's not legally authorized. That was Jim Crow Sr. But Jim Crow Sr. had lynching. Now we got police brutality, so the terror is still at work. And the decrepit education is still at work. Where young kids go to a working class black kid, separated, it's Jim Crow in practice. So in that sense, the separation is already there. That's another reason why one has to learn from the great black nationalist freedom fighters, because they're already conceiving of what it is to deal with a situation in which people are separate. Because that's where we are, in part. Not across the board. Our black middle class is not separate the way it was in the 1950s. But when it comes to the masses of our people, they certainly are. So I would never say pipe dream in that context, my brother. No, not at all. But crack pipe, I'm going to hold on to that one. Oh, yeah, I'm going to hold on to that one.
All right, I won't be long because I know we got many questions. Mr. Muhammad, I want to say in a word that integration as we know it has been a failed experiment, because if integrated in American society fully, we wouldn't have these problems. What we have failed at to this date is nation building, and to thoroughly go about the components of nation building so that what we believe in, land and the territory of our own, that it will become a reality. The stepping stones is what we need to be into right now. I say the stepping stones to a land and territory of our own are building a mass movement for self-determination as well as a mass political party. So then such questions could be addressed. As you know, I'm just old school, like on the question. I'm like Elijah and Garvey. I think we should have a land and territory of our own. Until such time, we have to practice nation building, and we have to practice, as we discussed earlier, resistance to what is going on here in America. So please send Brother Lewis the greetings, and we would hope that there could be unity. We would hope that there would be unity between the Nation of Islam and those who believe like that, so we could achieve those goals. We got to sit down and meet, and we got to cut some deals. That's the best way to go about it. Other than that, others will say that we are just on a pipe dream and we're just talking theory, unless we show them that what we believe in is being carried into practice. It's just talk, unless we go about these steps. I'm willing to help go about these steps.
Okay, next question.
Y'all are intimidating just a little bit. How are you, Dr. Shabazz? Mr. Shabazz and Dr. West. I had two questions which correlate with each other for Dr. West. Here we go. You quoted and you said, "You can't lead the people if you don't love people. You can't save the people if you don't serve people." My question is, because I've just had this debate many times and with my father yesterday, based on this quote, how did Donald Trump land a job that is meant to be a leader of all people? Let me give you this next question also, sir. Can you expound on how, because you said that we are all responsible for gangster Trump?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know I was responsible. I didn't vote for him. So
I know. I hear what you're saying, my dear sister. Well, the first question is, I was saying that in the context of the Black freedom movement. Especially nowadays, you got too many people who want to be a leader without the love. So I've never considered myself a black leader. I'll never be a black leader. I'm a lover of black people. And whatever my service, whatever form and witness it takes, if it has some impact, that's fine. But the great leaders of black people have never highlighted their leadership role, but to put the love at the center and the leadership followed from the love. But that's in the context of Black Freedom Movement. Trump's not a part of the Black Freedom Movement. He's a gangster who ruled. That's a different thing. That's a different thing. And what I'm saying is, I think it's very important that we don't view Donald Trump as some isolated moral monster. He is an expression and a product of American empire, American culture, American civilization. And there's long historic roots for who he is. So if we individualize it, we think somehow all you got to do is get rid of Trump and not deal with the roots. You see what I mean? That's what I had in mind.
What you got to understand is that you can practice hate and be president of the United States. But he has love, it just ain't for you.
Well, it ain't clear.
Trust me, the people that love him, he loved them, that put them in the office. He know who he loved and who his audience is and who rode him into power. And you know, you can take a few lessons from that. See, Donald Trump don't make no pretensions that he love everybody. He loved who back him, and he in office to support who back him. And so maybe concentrated love is the answer. Concentrated love, because he's showing you can be president and practice love and hate at the same time. Hello? Maybe that's something you need to study.
Thank you for those wonderful questions.
Go on to the next question.
Yes, I'll get right to it. Questions direct. As in many ways turned into a nightmare. He told his friend, Harry Belafonte, he said, I fear that I'm integrating my people. To a burning building. I like to read a statement from your good friend Michael Eric Dyson, professor at Georgetown University, in his book. He said, in 1966, King admitted that the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 had not improved the condition of poor blacks in the South or North. These legislative and judicial victories did very little to improve northern ghettos, nor did they do much to penetrate the lower depths of the Negro deprivation. In fact, he argued the changes that came during this period were at best surface changes. They were not really substantive changes. King acknowledged that the progress that had been made has been limited mainly to Negro middle. Hindsight, what do you think of that statement, and how have we advanced since then?
Brother, I appreciate that question and the homework you're doing. And I know you've done so much more that you can't even talk about this moment. You're absolutely right. Brother Dyson is right. You were right. But given that reality, given the fact that black poor and working people have been left out and black middle class success and upward mobility has been the focus, as if that's the measure of our movement. Martin Luther King Jr. did not die, and all of those in the black freedom struggle did not die. That was not what they died for. Martin Luther King Jr. was not the American dream. He said, my dream is rooted in. It's not the same as the American dream. His dream was for the empowerment of every black person in America that goes hand in hand with the empowerment of poor and working people around the world. That dream is a nightmare right now. It is a nightmare. All you got to do is look around and see it. So then the question becomes, what are we going to do? Now, what we've been talking about is precisely the acknowledgement of what Brother Dyson wrote in his book. And that means, and this connects in part to why Trump rules, right? He had a neoliberal candidate who couldn't get any traction. She's too tied to Wall Street. She's too tied to undermining Libya. She's too tied to undermining Honduras. She's too tied to supporting Israeli occupation vis-a-vis Palestinians. So people could not get excited about her, and the folk who did get excited were the ones who went for Trump. But he was xenophobic, misogynist, and a whole lot of other things, you see. So that the neoliberal project of not focusing on poor and working people that Brother Martin already saw in the 60s, still at work today. What did Brother Martin do? He learned from Malcolm, he learned from Ella Baker. He became a revolutionary. He said, there's one word that America needs: revolution, in values, priorities, ways of looking at the world, making sure that poor and working people are at the center. Now, if it's the case that America needs a revolution, but only has the capacity for a counter-revolution, then we're in an iron cage. If the racism is so deep, so profound, that it can never be transformed, and so the only thing that will save is a revolution, but they only have the capacity for a counter-revolution that will undermine a revolution, then we're locked in.
Let me say one quick thing, then we're gonna shorten our answers.
Oh yeah, that's true. I'm sorry to go on.
Y'all done lost control. I love all of y'all, but I don't know how we're gonna do it before 11 o'clock. But that's good that y'all there though. We'll try to figure it out. Okay, I gotta add a citation for something earlier I said. So I'm gonna add a citation to that, just so you'll know. The U.S. Declaration of Independence states, quote, when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them, under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government. Did you hear that?
Yes.
That is from the Declaration of Independence. So if you find that Mr. Trump, guilty under this part of the Declaration of Independence, you have a license to throw him off, according to the Declaration of Independence.
Okay, we have another question.
All right.
Oh, hi. So I feel so honored to speak directly to Dr. Cornel West. So I would hate for my question to stop the flow.
Yeah, no, I did appreciate it.
Yeah, so I just want to start off with just a quick quote that inspired me from James Baldwin when one of the moderators brought up just agreeing, I believe, with same-sex families and everything. So James Baldwin said, "We can disagree and still love each other unless your disagreement is rooted in my oppression and denial of my humanity and right to exist." So for Attorney Shabazz, when he just took a hard line against Adam and Eve and Adam and Steve and whatnot, that speaks to that directly. I want you to speak to how that you can still maintain a denial of humanity in their agency and how they would like to love each other. And then I think I would like to have Dr. West just speak more on really realizing what type of work that Black people could possibly do to align with people of color, you know, and make it really accessible, because I think in high spaces, we look at it academically and theoretically that we should know all these things politically and globally and why it's important to connect with them, but really why in every day, besides just loving, what can people do to understand the other's plight, why the wall is important, why Muslims are affecting African Americans and things like that. Does that make sense?
Oh, indeed. I appreciate you asking that, though. But I think I'm so glad we get a chance to clarify this issue, too, because one of the things that I was actually deeply encouraged by with my dear brother, Malik, was he showed in a very concrete way his love for the gay brother. You see, it was not a denial of rights and liberties. It was not an attempt to lynch him. It was not an attempt to trash him. It was not an attempt to spit on him, rebuke him, scorn him. It was a genuine love, but at the same time being true to his own more traditional understanding. And therefore, in that Baldwin quote, see, when Baldwin was saying, deny humanity that takes the form of the ways in which Black people have been treated. Spit on, rebuke, scorn, lynch, trash, and so forth. You see, anybody who would say that about gays and lesbians, you ought to be lynched, you ought to be spit on, you ought to be so-and-so. We got to draw a line. We got to draw a line. The brother who played organ in my church, Shiloh Baptist Church, his name was Clarence Echoes. I don't want nobody spitting on him. I don't want nobody messing with him and kicking him around and putting him on no tree. But then folks in the church got theological disagreements with him. In the same way disagreements with the gay brother who he supported. So in that sense, that love was still working. Is that a fair interpretation, brother? Fair interpretation. Absolutely. So in that sense, I'm not sure that there's a direct analogy. I do think that there's a certain denial of certain aspects of one's humanity when it comes to losing sight of the freedom of gay brothers and lesbian sisters to live lives of flourish and flower. But it's not an analogy to Baldwin saying as a black person in a white supremacist society, well, you know, they enslave, ain't nobody talking about enslaving gay brothers and lesbian sisters.
Just a little bit more to some of the black demagogues that we have that make it their civic duty to liberate black people from that force that you described doesn't come from the outside. You spoke to that.
No, but anybody who would talk about dehumanizing gay brothers and lesbian sisters in the way in which black people have it lynched and so forth, we got to call them into question, no matter who they are. No matter who they are.
Let me just say one thing here. I think, you know, the reason why I don't get no big controversies about the gay issue is because it's not a top priority on my political agenda. It is not. I have some strong personal opinions. Am I putting out flyers and posters to hammer my opinion on the public? Hell no, because I got more important problems. I'm not going around, and you know I'm not. I don't go around persecuting anybody. Matter of fact, I've said some things that some brothers and sisters would disagree on about how some of my brothers who are gay, I've actually helped them. As a black man, I've helped them, honestly, earnestly. They will call here right now telling me that for what I do for them, that they love Mr. Shabazz. That is true. But I'm here to tell you that it ain't a high-ranking. Right now, we got so many other things to think about. We got so many things to fight about. It's just me now. To me, we could take days, years, and we could argue till the cows go home over this, but it would take us off the track of fascism, of building a united front, and doing what we have to do. I mean, throughout this movement, to be very honest, Dr. Khalid Muhammad would tell you, when we worked in certain movements in certain cities, we knew that the sisters was lesbians. You think we stopped organizing and went and persecuted them and tried to get into that? We just kept on organizing. So my thing is, sister, it's not a big issue with me. It ain't the soapbox I'm on. Stop worrying about irritated Jeannie. Stop worrying. Stop worrying about, let the people stop worrying about that. But stop worrying about that stuff is what
We have another question.
Stop worrying about it because we're not that worried about it.
In the essence of time, we have another question.
Good evening, prestigious gentlemen. Dr. Cornel West.
How you doing, my friend?
Atty. Malik Shabazz. What's definitely needed in our nation is economic security and power, and definitely unity amongst all of our people. Brother Malik, you support my business right here in DC, you know, and I really appreciate that, because that's how we should be able to, that's what we should be able to do, support each other. Also, for all the brothers and sisters around this United States, all in your neighborhoods, we need to stand up. When we see the ills of our communities, have courage enough to stand up. If we disagree with something in our neighborhoods, come together, bind together, stand up together, and get it away from our neighborhood. We don't need it. It ain't doing us no good. But the question that I have to the brothers, for our nation, who will we have to represent our nation from a united perspective? If you understand the question, we have the Nation of Islam, we have the New Black Panther Party, you know what I mean? All these Asiatic communities and brotherhoods can all come together as one. It's what we need. Peace.
No, I appreciate that. I mean, that's part of that united front, I think, that Brother Malik was talking about, Attorney Malik was talking about.
And I have a program that I'm trying to help if I can, Brother Malik Shabazz, for United Village for social and economic development. And I have a dynamic plan. You can stop past my business and we can talk about it.
Wow. Okay. What kind of business you have, my brother?
It's called United Village.
Oh, that is the business.
That is the business.
Oh, I thought that was a plan independent.
No.
That is.
It is an organization that I'm trying to get up off the ground. But I need this united front, just like we're speaking about tonight.
Okay, so I say this, and we go on. Now, let me say one thing here. We have to, once we get to 11, we got to go. But I tell you what, all of you who are in the line, we'll answer the rest of your questions like Khalid Muhammad. We'll do it in the lobby. All right. And if you send the assassins to the lobby, we're gonna have some security, so you ain't gonna be able to get us in the lobby either. So, but we're gonna continue in the lobby, brother. That's just, instead of trying to solve the whole world, right? We're working on solving the whole world. We're working on solving the whole nation. We right here in DC, you know, we trying to make DC an example for what can be done in the nation and the world. Let's sit down and let's see what we're gonna do together. Because you know, we right here every week in DC, and you just come and be a part of our coalition, and let's make DC the example. All these other cities that's trying to get it together. Let's work together and make our city an example. Set example for other cities.
Yes, sir,
I'm sitting here with you. I'm with you. You come to my office. I come to you. We come to our meeting, and let's do this together, my friend. All right.
Okay.
I want Minister Nzinga here up here next.
Black Power.
Then I come in there.
We're gonna say a couple of things. Number one, we can't get in bed with anybody until we get reparations. Because the indigenous brothers and sisters got reservations and reparations. The Japanese got reparations for bombing America. The Jews got reparations, and I still don't know why. We the only people come to the table with our enemy and try to say we can work in coalition, and we're disrespected because we don't take care of our business first. I'm not joining with no damn body until they pay us for what they did to us. We're not. Have you read the book, The Destruction of What? Have they paid for that? Well, why are you talking to the British, the Belgians? The hell with them until they come to the table. This is about money. That's number one. You don't say you're going to work with me, but I got to change my name to Toby. I'm Kuta Kente. You don't say you want to work with me, Ronald Reagan, then you get Rick Ross to fill my community with debt, and then say we are the destroyers of our community. You don't work with me and then get Denzel to play the brother who destroyed Harlem, but he brought the dope in the coffins of soldiers. This is the white man behind these curtains. Behind these curtains, he bugged this room before we got here, and we gotta show ourselves respect. Point blank, we plan if we don't make these people pay for what they done to the African nation worldwide. You can't goddamn sit here and watch Kennedy pictures and don't tell your child that he killed Patrice Lumumba. And that his family ran what? Alcohol, bootleggers. Stop making this white man sit up here and we waiting to work with him to solve our problem. He's in the damn way. If we want to talk about this other thing, I went to the Georgia Dome, not for no Falcon game. I went to listen to Eddie Long on an Easter Sunday. Then I went to his church, 10,000 strong. Then he went to messing with our little boys. I didn't do that. I supported him. I put money in his office. You don't sit here and change the culture where people can play with our children and sit up here and try to fix it and work it out. You're a damn hypocrite if you're touching babies.
Oh, yeah.
Leading this devilish ass life. I didn't kill Eddie Long. You saw him on your TV lifting weights. Muscles this big. We talking the truth, goddammit. Go
have another question on the floor?
Peace. Yeah, this is it go right over here. This sold him out in the black media.
Ooh, we gotta go fast now.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a more benign version of what he just said. Yeah, you know, in the communities, you got. I'm part of the youth, so we on the corner selling drugs. A lot of us. And you know what corner we on, and what we see on the corner? We see the Arab, we see the Chinese, we see the Indian. They got the storefronts. They got the storefronts. They making an honest living while we out here selling drugs. And we talking about economics. You're talking about economics. We got all these different people in here with Donald Trump put the traveling ban. But at an economic conference, where all these multiculturalism and all that other shit at an economic conference, they got money to support their own. My question to both of y'all: has multiculturalism been the downfall of Black America?
Stop. Let me say this fast. It's gonna be a quick question. You just gave the answer yourself. You said somebody else was in your community selling what you need to earn, but you was out selling dope. To me, this ain't got nothing to do with multiculturalism. We have allowed multicultural economics in our community because we don't do what is necessary to serve ourselves. And I got to be honest with you, and this is our fault, black man. I tell you, right in this city where it used to be a Korean merchant on the corner, and I used to boycott him. And the Korean merchant is now a black man. But guess what? He's not a black man from America. He's a black man from Ghana. He's a black man from Ethiopia. He's taken over the industry and commerce in our community, and here go the African American, stuck on stupid. Multiculturalism, you can't blame that on nobody else. Multiculturalism didn't do that. The ideology didn't do that. We have become, as the Bible say, robbed and spoiled, even damn lazy. The root of the word Lazarus is the root of the word lazy. Let me take you on a higher level than the corner store. Right here in this city, you man, they're gonna rock this. We gotta be self-critical of ourselves, because you know I ain't teaching that, and I don't want him to come into. He talking about maybe some multicultural aspects in the political. We talking about what's happening in the hood. Let me say this: in this city, brother, do you know that contracts is going on in this city all the time? Contracts is being signed for business all the time. Big contracts, medical services, seniors, all kind of business and services going on in Washington, D.C. You know who at the table most of the time? Is it you, so-called African American? No, sir. It'd be an African brother or sister from the continent who's in there at the table. So what I'm saying to us is that's real talk. Love you, black man, all the way. But sometimes we can't blame everybody else for what we got to be doing, eh? We'll follow up in the lobby. We'll follow up in the lobby because we can't do that. We got all these people we got to go. Black man, I'm not blaming nobody else for the failure of us to do for us what we must do. When they come to me, and I'm going to stand on this, and I'll be attacked by a black nationalist of desires. They say that the Mexican, let me tell you this, and this may be controversial. They say that the brown brother or the Spanish-speaking person is our problem.
We can't, in the essence of time, please hold
Let me make one last point. Come on. One last quick point. Let me drop this and you come with, take your microphone.
I said our youth. Who is teaching us all what you just said? We go to these public schools, they teach us about Christopher Columbus and all that other bullshit. And then all of a sudden, when we realize our situation, now it's all these things that's out there that nobody told us about. Nobody told us about none of this stuff.
All right, well, okay. Now I get you on that. Nobody reached out to the youth and woke them up.
Education.
I understand that. Well, black man, hey, all I can say is that's part of the all I can say, and I can't give you a long answer on that. Y'all hush for just cool for a second. Brother, I don't want to hear black people complaining. I mean, we can have the right to complain. We have the right to complain. But all I want to know after this is how many men you gonna mentor. You know what I mean? Straight up. You say who the youth is being mistaught, show me 5 that you mentor. Show me 10. Show me 5, show me 10, man, because other than that, we're going to be a race of blame others and nobody going to respect us. Look, they try to bring it to me and I'm going to cut it close. They try to, you know what I used to hire, man, and I hate to say this, but I'm going to say this. Reason. You know, I was diehard 100% black contractor or else. I mean, you had to have a black bolt, a black saw, black drywall, black. I'm black till I will never go nothing else than black. Brother, did you know I rode through my beloved black contractors, repairmen, drywall men for years? I ran through some big money. And you know what, my black contractors, I'm not stereotyping all black contractors. I love them. But guess what? You know, after a while, I had to integrate and get me some brown contractors. Because my black brother said, oh, he said, a nigga like me, he got the property, I'll give him a half job. I'll show up when I want to, or I won't show up at all. I can't call you 90 times to come get paid and get some money, or you trying to do the job. I'm just saying this. Sometimes we have missed the mark. Sometimes we have not been as efficient or proficient as we should be, and therefore we losing out. I can't blame the Spanish-speaking man have took over the jobs that we feel we're too good to do. We don't want to scrub no more. We don't want to get out on our hands and knees and do that hard labor no more. We're too good for that. Am I right? Tell me, am I wrong? All right. So what I'm saying, black man, is that I blame everything on the white man. However, I would not be your brother if I didn't tell us what we're failing for ourselves. You know, the whole thing about Trump, the whole deal is an opportunity in this environment to show that doing for self is real and it's not just talk.
We have another question?
Love you, black man.
Yes.
Love you.
Can you hear
over
me?
here,
Can you hear me?
He's gonna ask something heavy.
We can hear you. We can hear you,
That's
brother.
my
Go
man.
right ahead. What's your question?
I want to start by thanking both of these gentlemen. During my days at Howard, your knowledge that you provided us during that time period has brought me a long ways. So I give thanks to you.
Appreciate that.
And Brother Malik, I see you every Tuesday, brother. You know what time it is.
It's regular work.
Yes.
That's right.
15 new messages. I don't know where that brother went to about the public schools. I just retired after 12 years. And I didn't see much of you brothers come in there to work with our students. And I'm going to say this to you right now. Most of you don't even know what goes on in those public schools. All right? Okay. It's like a prison system. Okay? The curriculum is controlled. So I have to fill in the gaps because there's too many missing. I'm coming to my question. I want to hear from the law students at Howard when I ask this question. I'm coming to it, sis. All right. In the 90s, before I even entered the teaching profession, I was in the community in Washington, D.C. During those times in the 90s, for those of you who were in D.C. during those times, you know that we had a crack epidemic.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, I went mentoring. I don't know about that brother back there, but I went mentoring. And one of the houses I had to go through to get the student into my program, when I walked through in the middle of the day, the grandmother was drinking, and the mother looked like she was strung out on crack. I didn't find out until later because when I was walking down there, a police officer pulled me over and asked me if I was lost. Because I didn't know I was walking into between the drug dealers. And that was a drug house that I was walking into. But these are the things I was willing to do during my days at Howard. But not a lot of students are willing to do that today. I'm on campus. And I know what the mentality is like on campus. But see, I can't fault you because I had a Kwame Ture before he passed come to us and give us a command. My question is this.
And that's some time, brother. We're gonna keep it.
Does the attachment of the color black to power and nationalism undermine the copper-skinned indigenous Americans' recognition for their stolen land? And I'm defining this under Noah Webster's definition in 1828 dictionary, which defines who the real American is, and not the European that attached themselves to that name. They knew who we were when we got here. Not all of us came over from Africa. So I want that question addressed.
Now, that was probably addressed to the students at the Harvard Law School. Is that right? Are you all ready? You ready? Yeah, exactly. You see, you want to hear from me.
What I want to say is this. We got to, we're in the teaching phase right now, and I don't know if do you want to hang out in the lobby for a while?
Brother, I'll hold on until I drop.
When you hold in your bag.
My plane don't leave till 6
I can't work this man like this.
No. I came here to work now, so we're going to.
Okay, so I would say this. We want to answer all the questions.
That's right.
And want to speak to all of y'all. I want y'all to meet Dr. West and whatever. But guess what? This has been such an awesome session. It has gone to the last hour. We're going to the last hour. I want to answer that question. The answer is no. Number one. The answer is no. Us saying black power does not undermine the indigenous. I mean, that's the short answer. Now, let's get deeper into it. But the answer is no, only if we start talking about the land and how we're going to divide the land, and we start dictating the terms on the land we don't own. All right? We cannot dictate anything. We must ask permission. All right? Now, I want to say this to the other sisters and brothers who are here waiting. Can you all come to the lobby? Just come to the lobby. Let us secure and get down to the lobby. We'll shake your hands. We'll sign. We'll take photos. We'll be all love, and we'll keep on working. But other than that, they will call the National Guard to get us up out of here. All right?
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, my brother. Hey, do something with me real quick. Do something with me real quick. Do something with me real quick. Don't leave. Grab hands and make a big circle. Grab hands and make a big circle, please. Grab hands and make one big circle. I got something for you.
Attorney Shabazz about to close everyone out. Does this at the end of every lecture and every program.
Come on, y'all come in. Make one big circle around the room and join hands. One big circle.
Does it usually after every lecture or?
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, talking in the chat and everything. But them cats done put me to sleep, man. I woke up just in time to cut this off. Sorry about the snoring, but it ain't a Israel doctrine program if I don't go to sleep and you hear some snowing. So with that said, we'll talk. Hopefully y'all heard me. I said that's the end of the program. It wouldn't be no Israel doctrine program without me falling asleep, snowing. Thanks for chatting in the chat and everything. We'll talk about this in the morning, the rest of the week or whatever. Y'all can go back and review some of the stuff, you know. So when we talk about it, you know, if I open up the mics and stuff, y'all can have y'all points, you know, down pack of what you want to deal with and stuff. I think that LGBT sodomy and stuff is one of the parts that I really want to touch on because that angered me. But I guess I snored away some of the parts. Well, y'all probably heard it or didn't hear it. I was just asleep. But you know, appreciate everybody tuning in. Peace.